Miles Edgeworth Investigations 2.
What the fuck is that? It's not real.
Yeah, Edgeworth got his own spin-off game.
No,
George
he
is...
didn't. Who the fuck's
Yeah, he did.
Edgeworth? We said best sequels, and you're here making up. You're like Derpy Sturpy's Ace Attorney. Everybody remembers Gregory Schmutz from Ace Attorney 3 while he got his own spin-off
People like
series.
Edgeworth more than they like Phoenix. He's more popular than the main character.
He's not real. I've never heard of him.
He's not real.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the HGO podcast. I'm one of your hosts today, Ethan, and joining me, as always, are my good friends, Hunter and Kyle. Hey, guys. How you doing?
I'm doing just swell.
You've got over it? You've got over this little burst of fame that we've had this week because for some reason the episode went stupidly out of our audience range. That was crazy, wasn't it?
You'd think that we cornered the market or something.
It was weird, man. It was weird. People showed up. Some people weren't happy. That was a fun one. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode.
Some people also didn't really watch the video.
Some people just commented on the first 5 seconds. It was quite funny. But regardless, thank you for the support on it. For those of you who did watch it and did enjoy it and did stay, because there was more than you than the usual. And if you stuck around, awesome. Welcome on in. Because trust me, we won't be getting views like that for a while because we're back into the graveyard shift.
Yeah. Next time we get views like that, will be the Xenoblade 3 spoiler cast.
Oh, we can hope.
Decided before this, we've got like a month before Splatoon comes out.
Yeah, and then we're just going to become the Splatoon podcast where we're like, oh, guys, those Julies sure are popping, am I right? Random stuff. Yeah, it's going to be a while. But no, thank you for everybody for watching it. And thank you, everybody, for being so good. Those of you who were good. And definitely not posting spoilers as well. We appreciate it. A lot of you were very good with not posting spoilers and stuff like that. Because trust me, even though Kyle has already finished the game, because he's a sweaty little nerd and bum rushed that main ending, didn't you? You were like,
I want to speedrun my depression, Ethan.
Speedrun his depression.
What can I say?
Whereas me and Hunter are on the approach of, well, Hunter's on the approach of take his time because he's playing at like 2 hours a time. And I'm of the approach of spending 21 hours at the start of Chapter 4 and not making any progress. So we'll get there one day. Expect a spoiler cast soon. But no, thank you for the support. We appreciate it. Thank you, audio listeners, for also sticking it out and enjoying it. We appreciate all of you very much. This week on the show, we are doing Best Gaming Sequels, correct?
Yes.
I did my research.
Ding, ding.
It's basically a 3x3 episode. Kind of, sort of. I feel like, I don't know about you guys. We'll
see how it turns out.
We've got the squares. We've got everything. Yeah. We're going to go in turn order and stuff like that. But I feel like it's less of like, these aren't, I didn't necessarily go, like, these aren't, even if it is a sequel or whatever, this might not technically be in my favorite games of all time and stuff like that. These are just sequels that I'm like, these are miles better than the original. Like, these are those. I personally went for number 2s that truly defined the franchise or truly took it to the next level. I don't know what Cal did. Cal's probably like Final Fantasy VIII. Let's do it, everybody. But you know,
we'll get to it.
We'll get to it, exactly. We'll see how it goes. But it's going to be a fun one. We're going to see, like I say, what our opinions are. And as always, when it comes to bullshit 3x3s, we've got to do a random picking selection that's never truly random because someone's always going to complain about it. And that someone's Kyle when he always gets picked first. So
Ethan just put my name in the bucket 5 extra times.
Yeah, now you can see that this is a clear lunchbox that is nowhere near as clean as it probably should be because it's been sitting in my bag for like 2 weeks because I had COVID, so I've not been to work. I've been working from home. So, you know, it's just been big chilling here. There is only 3 pieces of paper. You can see 3 pieces of paper in there. There is no rigging. There is no multiple Kyles. You know, all 3 of them are Kyle.
If Sam wanted to hang out like we talked about before the show, it would have been funny to have him do it and have you been like his one little piece of
what like Deal or No Deal in the US, where it's like we've got the girl with the briefcase, like open it up. that always makes me laugh because in the UK, Deal or No Deal is literally hosted by it was hosted by this guy called Noel Edmonds, who was like he's been like 50 years old for at least 70 years. And literally it's just red
Ash Ketchum.
boxes. It's just red boxes, and the way it works is there's 25 contestants, and one of them gets randomly picked to then be the part of the show, and they bring their box over, and everybody else continues playing until they're selected. So we have no, quote unquote, briefcase girls. We just have fucking randos. And it's like, so whenever I see Deal or No Deal in the US, I'm like, of course they have briefcase women and everything like that.
Of course.
I mean, Deal or No Deal's a weird concept for a game show, anyways.
It is. I also realized that I clipped this.
Briefcases for an hour.
It's a weird show. It's
How
a weird
much
show.
money can you get?
Very
Honestly,
bizarre.
I'd probably take one of the first offers that the person gives, just because I could live
does
on.
the US
I
version
could
have a
live on
fake
the
banker?
lowest.
Like where it's
Yeah.
like someone behind the scenes that you don't know, and they're like the host has like banter back and forth with them, and they're like, "Oh, that's a bit low, don't you think?" Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they do that. I could live on like I could stretch like the lowest amount that they're tossing out. I've seen tossed out on that show for a while.
What's the lowest amount in the US? Because ours is 1p.
I can't remember.
Ours
like,
is literally
okay.
1 pence. So it's like the
in-
lowest is 1p, the highest is 250,000, I think, if I remember correctly.
I think that's kind of what it is as far as the contents of like the briefcases. Yeah, I think there is $1, but the banker's never just offering $1.
Oh no,
That's
not
what I
one.
was saying
Yeah,
is
not $1.
would-
We go down to 1p. That's like 1 cent.
Oh,
like the
God.
lowest is 1 cent. We have like 1p,
Yeah.
20p, then £1. It's like
Oh man.
it's a tragedy. Why are we talking about Deal or No Deal? Anyway,
Welcome
no
to the
sexy
Hot
briefcase
Papers
girl
Only
today. You just got me
podcast.
in a hoodie because I washed my hair and it's floofy as fuck. So that's what we're getting. So we're gonna shake it. I'm gonna shake it on the camera, and then I will look away and pick them on camera, so you guys can say that it's totally random. And by random, I mean as random as we can make it. So no bitching. So we're just gonna shake it. Ooh, ASMR. There you go,
When
audio
Ethan
listeners.
turns away, he's gonna accidentally hit his microphone.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna stop shaking it. We're gonna lift the seal. Okay. I'm looking at
boy.
Xenoblade Chronicles and Wii Sports for the Nintendo Wii.
Good
And I'm gonna
games.
pick this one up. This is the one.
This is the one.
This is the one. Okay. Get your
My
timestamps
God,
ready,
it's,
Hunter.
it's Jack's turn. It's
Okay.
Jack's turn.
It is. It is. No fucking way. You can't see it. Hang on. Can you? Hang on. Can I angle it? It says Kyle.
Of course it does, dude. Why would it not?
Is it backwards? It's not, is it? I don't know. I can't tell. Anyway. Oh, it's because I'm holding it upside down. I'm a fucking idiot. Kyle, it's you. Me, it's upside down, guys. What's up with that? Have you tried actually turning it the correct way?
that?
What's up with that? You
What's
crazy.
up with that?
You crazy, bro. You crazy. So yeah, Kyle's up first. It's a classic. Have you missed the 3x3s, guys? I haven't, because they're a train wreck. Okay, you ready? You ready, Hunter? Have you got the Discord open? I've got it open.
Yeah, I got it.
These 3x3s are a very casual experience.
Yeah, it's not for editing, because I have to remember to edit the 3x3s in, but Oh well, I'll live. Okay,
Oh,
I'll let you
wow.
count down, Kyle. Go for it.
Oh boy. 3, 2, 1. Reveal.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so for those of you who are audio listeners, I'll give you a quick read-through. You've got Sly 3, Team Fortress 2, Zelda Spirit Tracks, Kingdom Hearts 2, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Mario Kart DS, Super Metroid, Super Smash Bros. Melee, and Pokemon Silver / Gold, whichever version that you probably have played. And what
Pokemon
I can
Gen
instantly
2.
tell, is Kyle's gone for best in the series here, from the looks of it, or his favourite in the series, which is interesting. It's an
Yeah.
interesting take. Maybe it's good that you're going first then, because then me and Hunter can argue against our bullshit methods later, and you're not you're not in the crossfire.
So
Yeah.
anyways, quick preface. I didn't go for anything like Final Fantasies because I don't see those as sequels on each other. They're more of just like next game in a franchise. You know,
Yeah.
You're telling
know,
me
like 6 to 7 to 8. Those aren't sequels. They're not connected at all. but
You're
like
telling me you
10
didn't like
and 10
13
too.
too?
Dude, I will play the 13 trilogy if it ever comes to PlayStation Premium.
If it ever that's like
Good luck
it's
with that.
isn't oh no it's on Game Pass. I know it's on Game Pass, so I could.
Well, I don't
play it.
have an Xbox, Ethan.
Well,
I
there you
played what I
go.
believe is 2/3 of the 13, and
See,
then I
the
played
thing
like
is, like,
an hour and a half of 13 too, and it was boring, so I stopped.
I've heard 13-2 is actually really good, and
That's
I
what
want to
people
try
claim,
it,
but eh.
but whatever.
There are other Final Fantasy games that people claim are good too that I haven't played yet, like 8 or 12.
Mhm. No,
15.
I've not played.
No.
I've only played 7
I've played
Remake. That's
that
all
one, and
I've
the
got.
people who claim that are wrong.
I've got one Final Fantasy under my belt, and that's not changing until a new one releases. So we'll see next year, maybe.
Part 2.
Yeah, exactly. Part 2 or 16, if either of them show up.
Anyways, lads, how
Anyway,
do you want to start?
I know where I want to start because I want to start with the basic bitch, right? Because it's like there's one here which we'll get into mine later, but I specifically went out of my way to not mention any franchises that we mentioned to death on this show. So you will not see a Persona on that list. You will not see a Xenoblade on that list. You will not see a Crash Bandicoot on my list. And there's one on this list that I would very specifically put in that baby bitch. We've talked about it a lot, pal. So I just want to get that one out of the way first. So go on then. Gush about Kingdom Hearts 2 for 5 minutes so that we can tick the box and move on.
Yeah, I figured we were just gonna skip this.
Nah, you can say it. Just talk about it. Kingdom Hearts 2. Why do you like Why is
Yeah.
it such a good sequel? Because we talked about why you love Kingdom Hearts 2, but I don't think we've really talked about why you think it's a good sequel compared to the first game.
Yeah, so Kingdom Hearts 1 was built on being like the most basic hack and slash you could play. Just simple, like, 3-hit combos, nothing more, nothing less, throw magic in occasionally, and then, like, pop a summon and stuff like that.
A couple of special moves, like the
Couple cool finishers.
throwy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
But
my favorite thing.
Overall, it's a just very basic, bare bones. Sora jumps like his shoes are made of cement.
Mm-hmm.
That's because they're way too big for him.
And then Kingdom Hearts 2 comes along and says, what if we become the coolest looking video game you've ever seen? Sora's gonna do all the cool, flashy shit. It's gonna look amazing. Drive forms exist to enhance combat. At the
Coolest
cost of
looking
making your
video
party
game is
members.
a strong statement when you're playing with
I'm
Donald
saying,
Duck.
calm your ass. It's a Disney game, bro. Calm your ass, dude. Like, oh,
Look,
like,
man, for 2005, 2006, this was the shit.
fair enough. Because, like, most
But
of the time, go on, sorry.
It took the building blocks of KH1 and expanded on it, which is what a lot of my picks on this list are. It took what worked in the original and fixed what didn't work, and just fine-tuned it to be damn near perfect.
No, I agree because it's like most of the time when we talk about Kingdom Hearts 2, me and you have differing opinions of Kingdom
Yeah.
Hearts 2. I think Kingdom Hearts 2 is a fine video game. I feel like it's a bit overhyped. But in terms of building blocks again, it's like to me the only thing, well there's two things that Kingdom Hearts 1 in my eyes does better, and that's story and that's worlds. Right? But it's like from a
Yes.
core gameplay point of view, there's no disagreeing that the gap between 1 and 2 not only is huge, but also 2 is kind of the defining point of the franchise, where every game from that point kind of tried its best to make a new, like,
It's
do
like
something
the
different with 2
measuring
or
stick.
enhance it, or kind of go more iterative on it. Whereas the
For
difference between 1
better
and
or
2 feels a
worse,
lot
it's the
more of
one
a
that people
redesign.
compare it to,
Yeah, for better or
which is
worse.
unfortunate.
Yeah, and it's very annoying, right? It's very
It's
annoying.
very annoying.
But it's like, yeah, it is. It's such a pivotal game, not just for the franchise, but I feel like to Square Enix too, because a lot of what future game design is for Square very much came from Kingdom Hearts 2, whether you've seen its trickle into other things, whether it's Final Fantasy, how they've gone more for a real-time action system instead of its turn-based systems, or whether it is other things like the newer IPs that they've done, right? Like Forspoken is still an action game very much based on that kind of style. It very much shaped the way Square Enix does their games now, for better or worse. I feel like Square Enix games have kind of become, like I say, a bit iterative and very much samey, to the point where I feel like a lot of them, they have their personality and their stories and the way they look, but a lot of the stuff Square Enix
Not
makes
so
is very
much in the
much
way they
just,
play.
yeah, it's just action hack and slash game, or if it's a retro kind of old school game, it's the same kind of pixel 2D
Or an
remaster
HD
of
2D.
turn-based combat, yeah. And there's not really much variety, but definitely in the way that Kingdom Hearts 2 plays, it definitely is one of those kind of
Yeah.
iconic sequels.
Like, its gameplay has aged so well, considering it was made in 2002 or 2006. I don't know where 2002 came from.
That's when the first one came out.
I think so.
2002 is when the first one came out, yeah. And it's like,
But yeah,
it definitely
it's
is.
aged so well.
I think my only wish for that game was they spent so much time on the combat and making that game feel good. My just one wish
they
was they
explained
took
none
more
of
time.
it.
Yeah, that they explained none of it, but also that I just wish that they had spent as much time on the worlds, because I feel like that's the real con of Kingdom Hearts 2 is the worlds feel a lot less inspired and they just feel like corridors and boxes.
Yeah.
But, you know,
It
I feel
definitely
like
falls into, like, they give you all this cool movement and not a lot of good places to use it. The
Yeah.
Cavern of Remembrance in 2FM kind of fixed that, where it gave you a little bit of a playground, but it wasn't nearly enough.
not much, but it's like you say, it's stuff that they're improving on and they've got better at over time. Like I say,
Yeah.
I feel like even though the gameplay isn't perfect in future entries, I feel like Kingdom Hearts 3 went back to that kind of design of looking at worlds again, and hopefully Kingdom Hearts 4 does the same. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how Star
Magic in
Wars.
the making.
We'll see how Star Wars works. We'll see. I can't wait for them to bring Mark Hamill into Kingdom Hearts again, but to be Luke Skywalker this time. That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
Hunter, where did you want to go next on Cal's list?
Let's see here. Why not? Why Mario Kart DS? What's special about that one?
I freaking love Mario Kart DS.
Mm-hmm.
This game was basically my 8th grade year of middle school, with me and all my friends just playing it during our study halls. So it's got that nostalgia for me. But then, like, even as a game, this introduced a core staple for the franchise for every game afterwards, which was the retro tracks. Mario Kart DS was the 5th game in the franchise, so naturally they had 4 games to pull from, and you can make a whole GP out of those. So they doubled the track roster from 16 to 32, and they picked a lot of good retro tracks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and also just the tracks from DS are super iconic, whether it's something like Luigi's Mansion or Figure 8 Circuit to even the Bowser's Castle of the game. Rainbow Road's pretty cool. Tick-Tock Clock is an icon. It gave us Waluigi Pinball, everybody's
Everyone's
favorite.
losing their mind over that one in the DLC thing.
It's a good track, Hunter.
I think it's
overrated.
overrated.
I haven't played it, so
I think it's the most overrated fucking track in like Mario
It's
Kart
not
history,
Papu's
dude.
Pyramid, so I've never seen it.
The only good thing about Waluigi Pinball is the soundtrack. It's got a banging soundtrack.
It's such a good
and the sound
soundtrack.
effects are incredible. I love the way that they have like the pinball sound effects throughout the entirety of it. It's great. However, the track is fucking mid. Like, to be fair, I feel like the track would be a lot better without the fucking pinball. I hate how, and people always say this. I see you in the YouTube comment sections. People are always like, that's what makes Waluigi Pinball fun. I'm like, no, the final straight line basically in the track being a suicide pact of, oh, I hope the ball doesn't fuck me, is not fun.
That sounds like fun.
You can also go off to the sides, like on a pinball board where the ball return would be. And the balls don't go there.
Yeah, but that's also like, oh yeah, would you like to? I don't play Mario Kart to fucking take a detour, dude. Take the extended route, take the scenic route. Yeah, let me look at the view. No,
full send straight up the middle.
Machine.
Yeah, but no, it's definitely DS is obviously. I feel like especially for our generation, DS holds a special place in everybody's heart. I never owned DS, but I've played plenty of DS because everybody sign of the poor people of being a shy guy and playing on DS download play. You love to see it.
Dude, DS was also the first game to do online play. I never played it, but you know,
I never played it online. I
staple of
played
the
it locally
series.
with DS download play, but I never played it online. But you know, it's an icon, and like you say, so many good tracks came from it.
Mm,
So many memorable tracks. It is. It's one of the staple Mario Karts. It's a shame we'll never see a new one ever again.
tragic,
Yeah.
really.
Truly tragic. I can't believe Mario Kart 8 doubled the tracks from 32 to 60. Actually, it was already 40, wasn't it? So it was like 42, so it's like 84 or something ridiculous now. Like fucking hell, dude. Calm down. Ridiculous. Anyway, let's go for Sly 3 because I'll just mention this now. I have Sly 2 on my list. So
Dude,
talk about Sly 3.
I thought about putting Sly 2 on my list,
Mm-hmm.
but then I thought I don't want to talk about that game anymore.
Fair enough.
So Sly 3 it took the formula of Sly 2, which was basically expanding the playable cast from just Sly to the rest of the Cooper gang with Sly, Bentley, and Murray. And Sly 3 expanded on that by giving us basically turning it into like an Ocean's 11 kind of game where
Yeah.
you're assembling a team and performing the ultimate heist of getting to go into the Cooper family vault. This was also the first Sly game I ever played. I played this series backwards. I think I've mentioned that a few times on the podcast.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't know how.
I played them
I don't know how.
2-1-3. I played them 2-1-3.
Knock on the door and ask Kevin if he's heard that line before.
Hey, Kevin, you in there? Still in there, bud? It's been a year.
Maybe you should just let him out now that Sucker Punch has decided that they're never gonna
Oh
free
shit! I
him.
forgot to feed him today.
Oh no, Kevin.
But no, it definitely is. It's like, to me, Sly 3 is always the kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like, it's the light Sly 3. And what I mean by that is it's kind of the, I don't know, it's kind of like it's just the fun Sly game, where it's like, you know, Sly 2 is very much buried in its story and it kind of having a darker kind of tone. And there's like comedy elements to it, but it's like, you know, everywhere's dark and rainy and it's always nighttime for the most part. And you're after the clockwork parts, and it's like this kind of
Sounds like Sly 2 was the best Batman game we ever had before Arkham Asylum.
We'll get to it in a bit. But the thing with Sly 3 is everything is just kind of fun and light-hearted. Light-hearted, that was the word I was looking for. It's very light-hearted. There are stakes, but it's also just very fun in the way they did it. It's almost as if Sucker Punch knew that this was the last one they were going to do, and they just wanted to, like you say, do an Ocean's 11 kind of heist movie that's just kind of fun. There's no real high stakes. It's all just a lot of fun, whether it's whether it's, you know, because it's just like the villains are more wacky and zany than they are in 2 and everything like that. You go from an opera singer to freeing a guru koala bear who has taken Murray and basically put him in a cult, and it's like you go from there, you go to the Baron of this air course, you go everywhere. There's a pirate level. It's so kind of, it takes the classic third formula. It takes the classic third formula of kind of going a bit out there and adding a bit too. Some might say too much. Some people might not like the amount of mini games and all that other stuff. But there's just some absolutely incredible stuff. And they also took Dimitri, who's one of the best parts of 2, and just made him absolutely absurd in this game, and I love him.
They also brought back Panda King from Sly 1.
They did.
Got to flesh out his character.
Least favorite level, though. I hate that level.
Again. And I just gotta say, Cooper Vault is the perfect final level. Bro,
it is.
What?
Why?
It is.
Cooper Vault is just a fantastic kind of reward for the end of the game. It's brilliant. It doesn't disappoint. It builds up the entire game and it doesn't disappoint. It's fantastic. I need to play the Sly trilogy again at some point. It's very good.
Like, Cooper Vault is the perfect send off to that whole franchise, truthfully. Honestly, as someone who never played Sly 4, this is where the series ended for me.
Yeah, I like Sly 4, but also Sly 4 is very much derivative of everything else that's happened. It's just more Sly. For better or for worse. There's some good points, but
I'll hopefully get to play it eventually.
Sly 3 very much was a good send-off for the series. Hunter, where do you want to go next?
Let's go with Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
interesting because I was unaware up to this point that there was a good Zelda game. So if you could tell me about Zelda Spirit Tracks, that would be amazing.
All right.
Sorry, I just needed
Spirit
to piss
Tracks.
somebody off. If you've listened to this 25 minutes in, I assume you can take a joke. So,
Yeah.
carry on, Cal. Sorry.
Spirit Tracks is a game that gets way too much hate. It's a fine enough video game.
Do
Yeah.
people even hate it anymore?
I
Because
don't
like
think that anyone cares
I don't
about
think
it anymore.
anyone
No one cares
remembers
about it
it is the
enough to hate
problem.
it.
Yeah.
But when it came out, like everyone was just so furious with it for no reason.
I mean, that's what Zelda fans do.
People were
They
just
get
held over
angry.
by the anger from Wind Waker not being realistic
Ugh.
looking, and I think that just kind of bled into the following entries on the DS with Phantom Hourglass and Spirit
Especially
Tracks.
because people were kind of Marmite over Toon Link.
Yeah.
And so I think all the DS games also having the Toon Link style didn't really help because I feel like a lot of people were like, is this Zelda now? So I
Yeah,
feel like people
and
were a bit pissy.
and it came out in 2010, which was like right in the middle of the gray, brown, beige 360 PS3 realistic style generation. So people were just like, "Oh, kids game."
Dude, I love that era. It's a great era.
Yeah.
I love beige. Bring back beige. I can't wait for the PS3 Renaissance, guys. I can't wait. Can't wait for retro games to just be fucking grey. I can't wait. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna kick off with The Last of Us Part 1.
Oh baby.
How dare you? They added colour. That's the only thing they added, but they added colour. So anyway, tell us about Spirit Tracks, because I don't know much about this game. Is it Spirit Tracks or is it Phantom Hourglass? I didn't look.
This is Spirit
It's Spirit
Tracks.
Tracks.
Okay,
That's the one
good.
with the train.
50, yeah,
Phantom
50%.
Hourglass is the one with the boat.
Yeah, I know it
Again.
is. I was like 50% chance. I wasn't looking at. My phone my screen was off. Okay, my screen was off.
Oh.
Called out. I don't have that much charge. I have to savor it. Tell us about Spirit Tracks anyway.
No, Spirit Tracks, like, I really loved this game as a kid. I haven't gone back to play it since I beat it, a lot like Skyward Sword, funnily enough, but
I still haven't played it, dude. Where is it? It's here. Yeah, look, I own it. There you go. I own it on Switch. I
heck
played
yeah, I
5
don't even own it
hours
on
and went,
Switch.
that is a Zelda game, ladies and gentlemen, and stopped playing it.
That's what I played on my vacation last year. It was a fun time.
Oh, you must have.
I think the
Do you
thing
want to play
that
it for
really
me?
for
Sure,
me about
send it
Spirit
over.
Tracks, the thing about it that really sticks out to me is the writing. This is until like I'd put it tied with
Oh,
Skyward Sword for the best iteration of Princess Zelda in the
Mm-hmm.
game.
Oh yeah.
Like, so basically, at the start of the game, Zelda loses her body and becomes that little ghost you see floating up over on top of the train.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she becomes
Yeah.
the Phantom.
Yeah,
right?
she becomes your little helper companion, and she'll help you out in this dungeon that you go back to after every dungeon to basically get to the top.
Oh,
Is
they
this
have one of
still
those in
two?
this
Is
one
this still
too.
2 and Link? So is there still Wind Waker timeline?
It's
in
Wind
that
Waker timeline, but it's in
later.
the future.
Okay, cool.
It's not the same Link and Zelda from Phantom Hourglass.
Oh, so it's a different Link. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I fucking hate Zelda, by the way. This is why I fucking hate it. Because everyone else is like, oh, it doesn't matter what timeline they're in. I'm like, no, I want everything in its place, and I want to know where we are. And I want, if it's a different Link and Zelda, give them a fucking different design. This is just a cop-out. This is like, you can put this Link and Zelda next to 2 and Link and Zelda from Wind Waker, and it's like, 300 years
Yeah.
difference, by the way. I'm like, oh, great. Glad to see the gene pool's that diverse that you end up with the same person 200 years later, dude. Sorry,
Yeah,
carry
like
on.
I said, I haven't gone back to it since beating it way back in like 2009, 2010, whenever this game came out.
Mhm.
It came out in 2010, I believe.
But it was a good time. I had my fun with it. Kid me had a good time with those puzzles. They were real brain scratchers.
Of the
Yeah.
two of them, I've always wanted to play this one more than Phantom Hourglass. Just
Mhm.
because, I don't know, man. Trains and video games is just a fun time when they're in games like this.
Dude, the song that plays when you're driving the train is a jam.
Oh, man.
The song is absolutely incredible.
Put a railroad system in Breath of the Wild, too, Nintendo.
Please don't. Thank you. I don't like trains. I'm a train hater. No, I don't. Trains are fine.
Wow. Look at this guy.
Where are we? We got that one, that one. We got 4 left. 5 left? 5 left? Fucking hell.
Should be 5.
5 left. Let's talk about TF2, because I played TF2. That's a video game.
All right. If you want to talk about a sequel that absolutely just eclipses the original, this is the game. This is
what even
the
is Team
example.
Fortress 1?
Who knows, dude? It's not real, I'm pretty sure.
No. It isn't real.
But no,
It's just called Classic, I think, isn't it? It's just called
I
Team
think it's
Fortress
one of
Classic or
those
something.
things like similar to maybe like Portal.
Team Fortress
that
Classic,
started
yeah.
off as a mod of like Quake and then became its own thing. And then the sequel did like real things with it.
Who knows? I say, I rarely know people that have played Classic Team Fortress. I haven't.
Exactly. I haven't.
But no, I played quite a lot of TF2 back in the day.
Summer going from second year of high school into third, this game was basically all I played.
What year would that be?
And
2015? 2014?
2014 to 2015.
Yeah.
And
That's
like,
crazy to me, because it's like your TF2 era is completely different to my TF2 era. Because my era of TF2 was literally a decade ago. So it was 2012 to 2013 was my era of TF2, which is scary that one, it's a decade ago, and two, that I have memories of that. I did YouTube back then, dude. I was like, that's how old I am. I am a YouTube boomer. I was around at this time. That's how it's scary now. I'm like, oh God. But also, it was a different time, man. Like, my favorite memories of TF2 I never played actual TF2, because actual TF2, cringe shit, bro. I was all about, like, the memes, and, like, Orange Box was so fun, where it was, like, the bare basic maps, where they were basically Mario 64 levels, Hunter. They were just geometry
nice.
and basic textures, but they were so fun, because they were like, we don't give a shit about how they look. We're just going to make the most
You just
fun
need
maps
things to
ever.
run around on.
Yeah. Exactly. And TF2 is just TF2 is just one of those games where it's like a piss about simulator in a lot of ways, where it's like you can play a game of TF2 that lasts like hours. Like you can literally fight on this battlefield for fucking hours. And it's just like one of those games that's just like incredible. It's just I love it. Also, Saxton Hale was incredibly hilarious, and I loved Saxton Hale to death. What a fucking game mode. Like Mike Myers, but amped up. It was incredible. I loved it. What a game mode. But no, carry on, Cal. You played after me, right? So what was your year?
I'm over here like the opposite of Ethan. I'm like, let's play some Dust Bowl, capture the point.
Boring, dude.
Hell yeah. Dude, it was so fun. That's basically all I did, and I put 200 hours into this game.
Fair enough. I was all about the memes. Whether it was sneaking around as the spy or just doing stupid shit. That was always my thing with TF2. It was just such a fuck about simulator. I absolutely adored it.
I mean, that's the beauty of TF2. There wasn't a wrong way to play the game.
No.
Like, you just boot it up and go dick around with some friends.
Yeah. I never played it, but I did really like their like character videos. Those were all a fun time.
Those are
the one for the pyro always makes me chuckle.
You know, yeah.
This is a bucket. Dear God.
You know, my first game that I ever streamed on Twitch was TF2. Fun fact.
Oh, really?
Nice. Yeah. Now you know my secret, guys. I was originally a TF2 live streamer. Oops. I just played something on Twitch. Better remember that. Right, a timestamp, Hunter.
Oh, shoot.
Right, a timestamp, 32 minutes for me to mute the thing temporarily.
Right.
Here, I'll just wave on stream so I can look at it in the recording. There we go. Say I waved around it. It's about 20 seconds ago, me. I'm my hero. Because I was gonna look at when my Twitch account was created, but no, I love TF2. It was great. Another one that wasn't on mine that was also a great piss about simulator. It was a game called PlanetSide 2, also a sequel. Didn't know the first PlanetSide, but a friend from back in the day got us into it, and that's like imagine like a map where it's like a massive open world, but it's like all control points, and there's like 60 control points across the map, and there's 3 teams, and you're all battling for supremacy, and everybody's server is a different server. And if somebody conquers the whole server, the server shuts down for like a week, and you win. You win that server.
That's amazing.
It's incredible. There used to be times where I used to sit there, and it'd be like, talking about Xenoblade 3, fucking 8-hour war where we were all just fighting for 8 hours, and it was just like, yes, I could make like the smallest bit of progress. It'd be like r/place where you carve like the smallest part of the map out for yourself, and you're like, yes, we won today. And then you get on tomorrow and you'd lost it again, and you're like, fuck, and then you gotta fight it back. I love that era of video
it could be
games.
a Fall Guys event.
Yeah, I love that era of games though. I genuinely do love that era of, just fucking simple multiplayer games where you just fucked about, and it's like they're still there, but it just doesn't feel the same. It just doesn't feel
fun
the same.
And silly.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel the same, and I wish it did, but it doesn't.
Team Fortress 2 is why I picked up Overwatch originally, because I'm like, a class-based shooter. I like Team Fortress 2. We'll give this one a shot, and it just didn't hit the same with me. I don't know if it was just the cast or the gameplay or what, but something.
Overwatch did to me, but for a different reason, because I never took TF2 seriously. I was always the kind of person I took Overwatch seriously, and Overwatch was a game that you need friends for. Like, you need friends for that video game. And it's like,
you really do.
Sometimes you just don't, and it sucks. But like, I had luckily a group of addicts that I could motivate to very easily play the video game whenever I felt
like anonymous.
it. Yeah, basically. That's basically it, pal. That is basically it. But no, fantastic video game. Right, Hunter, where are we going next?
Let's go with Super Metroid.
Classic.
Right. Yeah. I think this is probably going to be a quick and dirty one. Super Metroid, like a lot of the games on my list, it just did what the original Metroid did, but made it 1,000 times more accessible, 1,000 times more user-friendly. They gave you a map, which was helpful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would have put this one on here if I had actually played the first Metroid game, but I haven't, so I don't feel like I could talk about the actual difference of it too much. But this is definitely the one that, defined at least the 2D side of the series.
Yeah, for sure. And it helped solidify Metroidvanias as a genre. These sort of like, I don't even know what you'd call it, like an open world exploration.
2D action exploration.
2D action. I guess the world's not really open.
No, not really. But, non-linear 2D action game.
Yeah.
Something like that.
But no, Super Metroid's just a classic. If you haven't played it, check it out.
It's on Netflix.
It's on
Netflix,
yeah.
Oh yeah, of course it is, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it was the first game they put on there.
Probably. That doesn't surprise me.
It was like that and Link to the Past.
Yeah, good old reliables.
Yeah, I still, I try playing it. It's just it's really slow, dude. It's really slow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
it holds up really good, too.
It does.
I only played it a couple of years ago.
1994.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Anyway.
Right.
It's also like the only Metroid game I really care about. I'm going to be honest. Dread did nothing for me.
I like Dread more.
I was very lukewarm on Dread.
I like
the whole time I was playing Dread. I'm like, I could be playing Super Metroid right now.
Don't worry. I think most Metroid fans only care about Super Metroid and Prime, from how I gather things.
No fucking way.
What's up, Ethan?
You can't write that this is poetry. This is poetry. We brought this TF2 thing up. My account for Twitch TV, my old account, was created on August 8th, 2012. So on the release of this podcast episode, it will have been a decade since I streamed my first time playing TF2. What a fuck. We could not have planned that, dude.
How does that make you feel, Ethan?
Fucking old, dude. Holy shit. To be fair, I was like 14, so it's like I was really... To be fair, I was probably too young to be streaming, but at the same time...
Yeah.
You were. That was crazy how old I was, dude. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, back on track. let's talk about Marvel vs. Capcom. Kyle, let's talk about it. You've put 3 here.
Yes.
Why do you like Marvel
Yes.
vs. Capcom 3?
Oh, Marvel
What is
versus
wrong with you? I'm
Capcom.
kidding.
Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is one of the silliest video games I've ever played, and I freaking love it to death, dude. This
Nice.
game came out in 2012 or 2011. I don't remember which. I
It
should
was
have
one
done
of
my
it
research.
was one of those.
And it
The
is
ultimate version probably came out the next year.
and it
Oh.
10 years later, it is still being played at tournaments. It still it still has an evergreen community around it. People are still finding this game and loving it. Basically, it's a 3 versus 3 fighter that takes the silly characters from Capcom Land and the silly characters from Marvel Land and mashes them together into one big silly experience where every character dies immediately because the damage in this game is ridiculous.
That's how they should end the MCU. Bring Capcom
Honestly.
characters into it and make everyone die.
Just bring in Virgil and the game will be and everything will be saved.
Yeah.
that's
no,
optimistic thinking that MCU will end. That's nice.
Yeah.
One can dream.
I was trying to manifest. Is all.
Not
But
in our
no,
lifetime.
the roster for this game is absolutely crazy. You've got like Arthur from on the Capcom side of things. You've got Arthur from Ghosts and Goblins, Amaterasu from Okami, Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney
Yeah.
is in this video game.
Objection, Thanos.
You've got the Devil May Cry trio of Dante, Trish, and Virgil. Resident Evil trio of Chris, Jill, and Wesker, all pulled from Resi 5, so they all play different from each other. You got Chris, who's the gunslinger, but then Jill and Wesker have like the Ouroboros in them, so they can do all these cool like flippy things.
It was a virus in that game, Ethan. Don't worry.
It was a virus in that game.
It
Ethan.
might be a virus in this game. You never know.
It's possible.
But then over on the Marvel side of things, you've got cool X-Men characters. Of course, you got the classic Wolverine, Iron Man, Thor, Cap, people you'd expect. But then you've got She-Hulk.
I'm just saying, it was really funny that you said cool X-Men characters and named off Wolverine and then moved to the Avengers.
You know, Wolverine's the only cool character.
I've never seen an X-Men film, read an X-Men
They got rid
comic, played an X-Men
Gambit.
game.
Gambit and Cyclops were in Marvel 2, and they got rid of them, and that's the worst thing about this game.
That's sad.
But like,
Gambit, yeah.
Dude, Gambit needs to be in everything. We love Gambit, no matter how dumb of an idea he is.
He cool.
He's so cool. But no, then you've got characters over on Marvel's side like X-23, Rocket Raccoon,
cool
Rocket Raccoon in a pre Guardians of the Galaxy movie world.
That's true. That's a rare sight.
MODOK and Doctor Doom.
I hate MODOK. Can we talk about MODOK? I fucking hate
Yeah,
MODOK.
but
Stupid
still,
head in a chair,
fucking
yeah.
stupid character, dude. Fucking
But
hate
the
him.
fact that they took the stupid character is more what I'm getting at. Taskmaster's in this game.
Dude. I hate him too. Fucking hate Taskmaster, dude. What a
I
boring
skipped his
character.
things in the Spider-Man
My
game.
power is that I can take over people. I'm like, fuck off, dude. Fuck off. Get in the bin, dude. Taskmaster, stupid fucking character. Terrible in everything. Terrible in the video games. Terrible in the movies. Everything terrible.
He was in the movies?
He was in Black Widow.
Ah, that explains it.
He was very pointless in that one.
Yep.
The movie was very pointless.
Very
I'm pretty sure
lame.
Hawkeye was in this game too.
Oh, nice.
I bet he had his goofy helmet.
I think he did. Actually, why am I saying I think? He's right there front and center, Kyle. Right in front of Ryu. Also, Ghost Rider's in the game.
Oh no, that's a good one.
And Deadpool. Deadpool's in this.
Yeah, like their opening cinematic was sweet because it was Dante and Deadpool shooting guns at each other and not doing anything but causing property damage.
It's what they do.
Yeah.
But no, Marvel 3, this game's iconic. It's one of the silliest video games I've ever seen, and it leans into the ridiculousness of the concept. It's available on PS4 for like $5. Check it out. There's not much of a single player, but you can dick around in that game.
Nice.
It's a shame that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite happened, and we'll never get another one.
That's the spirit. Oh well, right.
Dude,
Two more,
Infinite
Hunter.
was so bad.
Which one do you want to talk about first before we wrap Kyle up and let him never talk ever again?
Smash Bros. Melee. Let's
I
go
need to
with
get
that
more
one.
water.
Yeah, let's get this normie fucking take out of you.
Oh, next to the normie take of Pokemon. Come on.
I like Pokemon Silver, bro. Like, I grew up in the 2000s. Can you tell?
So, anyways,
Yes.
honestly, these two last entries are basically cut from the same cloth.
Well, I'll talk about both of them if you want. Go for it.
Yeah.
You do you?
So, they're both sequels to games that left a lot on the cutting room floor, where Melee was supposed to have the roster of Smash 64 was supposed to be a lot bigger than we actually got, or at least they wanted it to be. But a lot of characters ended up getting cut and put into Melee. Characters like, but like they took what worked in the original, doubled the roster size, introduced Fire Emblem to the West for better or worse.
Yeah.
Worse.
They put Mr. Game & Watch in the video game,
Worse.
which like who even knows who even knew
I
what
did
that
not.
was?
Not
I
me.
certainly didn't.
I wish they didn't. Hunter is being attacked by the neighborhood kids. Is what I think that's the story we're going with.
I think the plague doctor's got a strike.
Oh no. Oh well. Well, no. Melee is kind of the iconic sequel, right? Because
it really is.
Not only is it considered it's fan loved, it's fan favorite, but also it's the fact they made it in like 2 years, not even
13 months. Yeah.
13 months, wasn't it? It's like ridiculous.
Yeah, that's not even an
achievement.
The amount that they put into this game after 13 months, like the event matches, classic all-star and adventure mode, the target tests. Target tests were freaking fantastic, dude. They
break the targets. It's a good way if you want to do it. It's a good way to like teach you how to play the character in a way that's effective.
Yeah,
without making it feel like a tutorial.
That's what taught me how to wall jump in that game. I remember Youngling's target test. It starts you off in this giant hole, and there's nothing around you except 2 walls on either side of you, and you're like, what? How do?
But, like,
Melee, it's genuinely a game that's withstood the test of time. The fact that it's still being played at tournaments, no matter how Nintendo feels about it, like it's a testament to its staying power and just the love of the people that love this game.
Yeah, I didn't even I don't care about the competitive scene at all, and it's still with Brawl like one of my favorites in the series, just because it was the one I played a lot of when I was younger and all of that. Like, man, the actual trophy hunting in my life existed throwing my coins in the lottery of the Melee thing. PlayStation 3 trophies can screw off. I already spent my time doing pointless challenges for a picture.
Dude,
the funny thing is Nintendo's so anti-trophy, yet they were the first to do it. You know, it's like
I know it's really funny, isn't it?
We don't like arbitrary things in our video games, but then they'll have the collect the random 1,500 bullshits in the collection shop every fucking Smash game, and I'm like,
yeah,
excuse me, no,
yeah.
Okay then, Cal, wrap it up. Pokemon Gold, Pokemon Silver, controversial take. Because I realize this is more of a controversial take, because we all love Gold and Silver and Heart Gold and Soul Silver here. But I've seen increasing hostility. Who knows? Maybe there's a new rule. There was a rule, the classic rule of once
it got too old, so now we don't like it anymore.
Once a Pokemon game turns 8 years old, it's considered good. I feel like the new rule is once a Pokemon game turns 20 years old, it's bad. Because now people are shitting on Gold and Silver, saying they're super slow and there's nothing interesting in them. So, you know.
Dude, I disagree. This is still possibly the most interesting the series has been.
There's more content in Gold and Silver than there is in Sun and Moon. or base Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
True. Not
So-
going to disagree.
Pokemon Gold and Silver, they were designed as like the last Pokemon games at the time.
Mhm.
They were
If
supposed
only.
to be the end. But that's why it is like a sequel to the original Red and Blue. You go back, you're in a new region, and then you go back to the old region in post game. Get to retread Kanto, and a lot like Super Smash Bros. Melee, it takes a lot of things that were left on the cutting room floor because in Pokemon Red and Blue's code there was data for like 50 more Pokemon that was just that were all just unused. That's how Missing No came to be.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Missing No
basically the
just-
game trying to load something that wasn't there.
It was actually missing Johto.
Missing Joe.
Yeah.
But Gold and Silver, it does what everything on my list has been about. It took what worked in the original, tweaked it, and just made it a million times better.
Back when the legendaries still looked cool.
Back when the legendaries meant something.
Speak for yourself. Look at him. Look at him.
It even
He's a
kind of acted
goofy
like a
dude,
balance
dude.
patch
He's a
to
goofy
Dude, I
dude.
love
Oh,
Lugia.
shit. Oh shit, I'm
Oh,
ruining my
Ethan
set.
broke everything trying to get a prop.
Yeah. The funny thing is,
Classic.
as well, is it's like this is a prop you don't want to drop. You know what I mean? Like I didn't realize
That's
until
money.
I was looking it up today. I didn't realize how fucking expensive this is because this is complete.
That's mint.
This is complete.
Oh no!
Like the
Oh
Pokewalker's
no!
in it. Yeah, the Pokewalker's in it and everything. Like I have everything. I didn't realize how much this is worth, and it's the PAL version. No one has the PAL version apparently.
Damn,
I mean,
dude,
it's not
you just found
perfect.
$2,000 sitting on your shelf.
It's not no, it's not perfect because the back's a bit sun bleached. But
Eh,
I didn't realize how fucking worth something this was. So I'm like, treasure it because it's the only good Pokemon game anyway. So treasure it.
Yeah.
it's growth.
But no, they are fantastic games.
They are, and
The last one I played.
and like, yeah, they only added 100 new Pokemon, but again, this was on a shorter development cycle compared to. I don't even want to say compared to what Pokemon games are like now, but it was a short development cycle, and honestly, the Pokemon they added are still some of my favorites. Scizor, Tyranitar, Houndoom, Totodile, Wooper. This game gave us Wooper.
Yeah.
What more do you need?
No, fair enough.
Not to mention, added in the Dark and Steel types as a check, basically as like a balance patch to checking Psychic types. Gave us the physical and special split. Or not the physical special split. It split special into special attack and special defense. So it wasn't just one stat like it was in the first game. Yes, Hunter, that was real.
Fair
I
enough.
see that confused head nodding.
I just don't. I was too young to pay attention to Pokemon stats when I did play it, and
Dude,
every
I still
time
don't
anyone,
chat.
yeah,
Fuck
that,
that
yeah,
shit.
I wouldn't do either. I
Boring.
wouldn't do that either. I would just do it. Like if you use like
Yeah.
status moves in a game like this, you're a cop.
The Pidgey I find is the Pidgey I use. None of this. Let's check its nature and its fucking IVs. Fuck that, dude.
What's that
It's a
even
kid's
mean?
game.
Don't worry,
Come
Natures
the
didn't
fuck
exist
on.
yet.
Yeah,
Come the
they
fuck
never
on,
showed
baby.
us.
That was
Grow
Gen
up.
3's mistake.
Yep, and it's something to this day. I still don't know what natures do, nor do I care. Thank you and goodbye, dude. Is it super effective? That's all I care about because that's the way to play Pokemon. And there you go. That's Cal's
Half the time, I didn't even care if it was super effective. I just wanted my things to look cool.
True.
I just give everything Earthquake and see what happens.
It's the real way to put it.
Earthquake and Hyper Beam everything.
True. Right then. Let's move on because at this rate, we're going to be here for 3 hours. So I'm going to speed the shit up.
Baby.
Dude, I
don't know about you, Hunter. I'm not spending 50 minutes talking about mine. So we'll.
I don't think I have that in me.
long, dude.
Yeah, I
they
don't have
always
that in me.
are.
That's why we put you first, so we know how long we're gonna be, dude. We're like, okay, let's stick Cal up front, so we know how long we're gonna be here. ASMR time, baby. Let's go. I'm just gonna pick one out. Better not be me. We're in a rush, Boone. I don't care. I'm just gonna
Dude,
take
I
it.
think you should go first by default next time with how much you haven't gone first.
What do you mean? How much I went first last time? What the fuck you on?
Did you?
Yes.
I think I've never went first. I've always been second
Hunter's
or
the one that
third.
hasn't been first, and he's gonna go last again because I picked myself out. Fuck. Can't see it. Trust me, it's Ethan. God, fuck off, light. There you go.
I mean, I don't think
Hey,
anyone's
fuck you,
I don't think
son.
anyone's distrusting
Fuck
you
you.
to pull yourself.
I don't
Since
know, the
apparently
audio
it's being
listeners might be distrusted.
it's
Yeah,
being
no one
treated
trusts
as if
me.
having to go is a bad thing.
Yeah, we don't want to talk on this podcast. That's cringe. Okay. Right. So I want to give a caveat to mine then. Let's explain my list before we go into it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So my list was I picked only twos. There is an exception to this rule of one of them. And the exception to this rule is because it's the second of that kind of iteration of the franchise, is what I'll say.
Yeah. It
That's
went
the
in a
only-
new direction and
That's the only yes. I also just went with games that are in my head kind of like a lot of times perfected or just improved, or also sometimes favorites. There are also some of them aren't my favorite in the franchise that I just appreciate what they did and I respect that a lot of people think they're the better one.
yeah.
But the most important thing is they're all twos because cows are fraud. Anyway.
We didn't specify that was a rule.
I didn't
me and Hunter
specify it. I didn't
me
want
and
to make
Hunter magically
I didn't want to make
came
life
to the
harder for you
conclusion.
guys. I was just gonna put that stipulation on myself.
Okay. And also no Persona, no Crash, no Xenoblade.
Also, Ethan, I
Promise.
want to say about mine, before I put TF2 on here, I had 51 Clubhouse games as a placeholder.
Nice. To be fair, it
I
is a
forgot
sequel.
that's technically a sequel.
I know it is.
You would have been legit.
Then I remembered Team Fortress 2 was a game.
Right, okay. There's nothing shocking on this list, by the way. No one's gonna go, ooh, that's an interesting pick, Ethan. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh my god, I can't believe he put Soul Hackers 2 on here.
Ooh, it's not even out yet. Ooh, have I broken embargo? No, don't worry. Don't worry, Atlas hasn't given us shit. Don't you worry, guys.
Yeah, I thought about putting Rayman Legends on here.
Okay, but no. For those of you, that's the exception. For those of you that want to know, if you're an audio listener, let me fill your mind's eye with my 3x3. Picture it now, guys. It is Spyro 2, Assassin's Creed 2, Watch Dogs 2, Batman 2, no, Arkham City. Rayman Legends.
Batman 2.
Sly 2, Red Dead Redemption 2, Horizon Forbidden West, aka Horizon 2, and The Last of Us Part 2. I hope you guys are up for that one an hour in. If you made it an hour into this podcast, I assume you're not an instant Last of Us hater, so we'll see.
Either that or they're new here.
If you're new here, good luck. So that's my list. So yeah, well, you guys can pick, and I'll tell you whether I think it was one because it's substantial, or if it's iterative and it just perfected what it was, or if I just like it more. Well, I'll let you choose.
All right.
Who wants to go first?
Kyle, you can go first since I was picking things already.
Rayman. Let's hear about Rayman.
Legends. So Rayman Legends is the exception to the rule because I'm counting Origins and Legends separate to the Rayman the predecessors of Rayman, just because it's its own thing. And like I say, this is very much one of those iterative ones where it's just a better version of Origins in like every single way. For one, it has most of the Origins levels in Legends, so you get the entire base. I think it's the entirety of Origins actually.
I think it is.
Couple of
Yeah.
levels. In Legends. It's just Rayman Legends is quite possibly one of, if not the best 2D platformer ever made. Like, it's phenomenal how good that game is. It's phenomenal
really
how
solid.
good that game feels. It's incredible how that game looks. And I am still shocked that nearly a decade later, we still haven't got another Rayman game. It's like, it's sold incredibly well. It was ported to everything, literally. It was originally a Wii U exclusive, and when Ubisoft looked and saw the sinking ship, they were like, this game's too good to be on the Wii U and the Wii U alone, so let's push it and then have it release on the PS3 and 360 at the same time. Then a year later, let's release it for the PS4 and Xbox and Xbox One without load screens, which is fucking phenomenal for the PS4, the load screen machine. What a riot.
Yeah.
And then
man.
they were like, "Fuck it, Nintendo Switch 2," and that came out in 2017. In fact, I
That's
think I
wild.
own it.
This
Yeah, I
was
do. I own it.
that's
For Switch.
hilarious. That was well into the time when Ubisoft was like, if it's not Far Cry or some variation thereof, we don't care.
Yeah, it was first year of Switch that it came out, the definitive edition. And yeah, it's just fantastic in everything that it does. It's just an excellent 2D platformer. Its level design is varied. It's got some awesome stuff. I love how each of the levels has the king and queen teensy, which are basically always in challenge rooms, which I just love the idea of having collectible challenge rooms and just having them being like little mini bonus puzzles, almost like bonus rounds in Crash. I just really like that. It's an awesome feature. I love how there's varied stuff, like there's varied additional things to do. They have invasions where you have to go in and save some teensies that are strapped to fireworks that are about to launch. If you don't go through them in within 60 seconds, you got to free the teensies. There's stuff like that. They've got the classic 2D platformer sections of having a shadow version of yourself chasing you around. Not just Celeste that has that, by the way, guys. Just for you, if you didn't know, other games have had that. The time trials. There's a time trial feature which is great. There's the online feature which I hated because it was a nightmare for my platinum because I had to play the online for like 3 months. It was crazy.
Oh, no.
I did it. I have the Rayman Legends platinum. It's not worth it. But there was like online challenges where they'd change every day. They'd have weeklies and dailies, and you'd be put on a leaderboard, and you'd get XP and points and trophies based on how well you did in the day. And there was a trophy to get to max level, and to do it, you had to either play. It worked out to be something like play the game every day. If you got gold trophies, which was for like top 25 to 10, like 20%, it was like a pretty decent achievement. It would still take you, if you got all golds, it would take you like something ridiculous, like 3 months to get the final level. If you got platinum, like, was it diamond trophies or something like that? It'd take you 14 days. And that was for 1%. Top 1% of players got the diamond cup every day.
Crazy.
It was ridiculous, but the game was that good that I still did the grind and I still played it every single day and I got it. It's a fantastic game. It's just a fantastic 2D platformer. Probably my favorite 2D platformer ever made. It's fantastic. So much so, it's one of those games that I own multiple copies of, yet I don't talk about it that often. Like, I don't meme it like I do with Skyrim. I own 2 copies of Rayman Legends. Not a Wii U version, unfortunately. If you do have it on Wii U, you can use Murphy on the gamepad, and it's shitter, so don't. There you go. Rayman Legends, fantastic. Hunter, I guess it's your turn.
All right, let's go with Arkham City.
As I've gotten older, I think Arkham Asylum is probably my favorite in the franchise.
Yeah, I'm starting to lean more that direction now too.
Arkham Asylum is just fantastic, and a game that Kyle would love. Because it's a Metroidvania and it's not open world. So I'm just going to keep bullying you until one day you play it, Kyle. I'm just going to be like, one day you'll play it. I'm just going to bully you.
You play as Batman, and it's great.
It's great. And Mark Hamill's the Joker in it. He's fantastic. And Kevin Conroy's Batman, so it's also fantastic. Just everything's fantastic about that game.
That name.
You don't know Kevin Conroy?
Not immediately.
He's Batman's voice.
He is the voice of Batman, dude.
Nice.
In the animated series alongside Mark Hamill, he's like the quintessential Batman voice. If you listen to Kevin Conroy as Batman, you're like, he's Batman. Everyone else is shit. He is Batman.
I'm sorry, I don't know that name off the top of my head.
You should. Unacceptable.
He wasn't in Persona 5.
Unfortunately not. He would have made a good Joker, that's all I'm saying, dude. He would have been a good Joker.
That would have been fun.
I thought Mark Hamill was the Joker.
Could you imagine Joker talking with Mark Hamill's like super deep, or not Mark Hamill, like Kevin Conroy's super deep voice as a teenager?
I'll just add this.
Show me your true form.
Yeah, show me your true form. It'd be great. But no, Arkham City is like the quintessential, like, to me, it's one of those. Assassin's Creed 2 is the other one, like another one where I'm like, that kind of defined Arkham City kind of defined video games for a couple of years after it came out.
It was like that. It was like that generation's open world sandbox kind of thing.
But I think the brilliant thing about it is it's such a refined experience. Like, yes, it has those options of an open world where it's like you can go to anywhere, but it still has that intricacy of a Metroidvania in a way where everything has its purpose. And it's like you have options, but it's not like
There's
like,
still
I still think
design
I still feel Cal
in
would
the
like Arkham
options.
City because even though there are options, they're not like here's 60 million wave points and stuff like that. It's just side quests will pop up randomly, and it's like, okay, do I want to go and carry on this story, go and confront the Penguin, or do I want to see what the hell's going on with these murder mystery cases of bodies showing up without faces? What's going on there? Let's go and explore that. It's just I have never played a video game that I think has such good pacing as Arkham City, where it's like that
really
game just goes for the ride, and it doesn't matter how little or how much of the side content you do, that game just feels perfectly paced, where it just never lets go. And there's not a single point in Arkham City, and I've played that game probably a dozen times over the course of my life. There's not a single point of that game where I'm like, oh, here comes the shit bit, or here comes the slow bit, or I'd rather not. There's just always a part of Arkham City where I'm like, it's so well crafted and well refined, and I absolutely just love how everything works and how everybody in that game is absolutely perfect, from the performances to everything else, you know? Again, you have Mark Hamill as the Joker, iconic performance. Kevin Conroy as Batman, iconic. You have Troy Baker as Two-Face. You have Nolan North as Penguin, who is one of the best fucking Penguin performances I've seen in my life. Dude. Absolutely fantastic. Tara Strong's first appearance as Harley Quinn is in Arkham City. Fun fact, that was her first time playing that character, and she's now considered the voice of Harley Quinn, basically, in a lot of media. It's so well paced, and it's a beautiful story, and I feel like it's quintessential Batman. And it's like, even though I have a love for Arkham Asylum because I just love how creepy it is and just how comic booky it is, I still think the best game in the franchise is Arkham City. It's fantastic.
I haven't played it in a long time, but I still like things from that game still stick with me, like the Mr. Freeze fight. Very excellently designed boss AI.
One of the best boss fights in games, dude. Like, it's absolutely
just in general. I still remember the Ra's al Ghul fight too, and like doing the parry stuff on all of his goons. So good.
Kyle, you'd like the freeze fight. The freeze fight is great. The freeze fight is basically, imagine a game of cat and mouse in an area, Mr. Freeze, where there's the game doesn't tell you how to deal with him, but there's a load of solutions in a room, and as soon as you use one of the solutions to take his hit point out, Mr. Freeze learns from it, and you can't use that again. So it's literally like you have to come up with different solutions, and the harder the difficulty is, the more of the solutions you have to come up with, and it's just fantastic because the game doesn't tell you shit, and it's just like it's like the most intense boss fight ever, but it's so well done.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really well done.
Yeah.
But no, fantastic video game. I love that thing to pieces. I think all the Arkham games are great in their own way, but City is probably the perfect one. Like, it's like the most perfect. I still like Asylum more though, because it's just the creepy stuff and just the way it is. There's a charm to Arkham Asylum, even though I appreciate that it's a worse game than Arkham City.
Yeah. Like, there's nothing like the final battle in Asylum that I point to in City, and I'm like, no.
Arkham, Asylum has shit moments, like that part, like all the other bosses in Asylum. They're not very good.
Yeah, they're not great, but
there are parts of Asylum I could do without. But it's a coin flip of Asylum and City, which one I prefer on a given day. Anyway, Kyle.
All right, tell me about Watch Dogs 2.
Because
from what I understand, I think people didn't like the first one.
Oh, it's awful! Yeah. Fucking god! Right, I own all 3 Watch Dogs games, and let me tell you, Watch Dogs
There's
1 and
3
3.
Of them?
They made a third one a couple years ago.
They made a third one.
It came out right next to Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
You got Watch Dogs 1, which is ass. You've got the good one, and then you've got another terrible one that was.
Right.
Legion, but the E is a 3. Yeah, you get it.
I remember.
It's quirky.
E3 returns.
So yeah, the gimmick of 3, Kyle, was, for those of you who are unaware, that there was no main character, and you recruited the people of London, and you just had millions of characters, and if your character died, then they died, and you had to swap to somebody else, and it was dog shit, Because who would have
Oh,
thought that having
that's
20...
unfortunate.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's an awful video game, and it makes me sad because Watch Dogs 2 is fantastic. It's just a fun video game. It's just a fun sandbox. It's like what I think what people wanted from Watch Dogs originally, the original Watch Dogs, was like the next step in like what a GTA kind of video game was, where you had control of the system. Basically, it's basically a hacker's fantasy video game, the original Watch Dogs, and Watch Dogs 2 to an extent, where it's like the whole premise of Watch Dogs is you you're in a world where basically the government has control of everything, and everything's taken over by basically AI network, and everything's controlled by the system essentially. And what happens if somebody has the keys to the system? And so, you can piss about. You can, during car chases, you can turn the traffic lights on and have everybody ram into each other because they're all brain dead and they all just go on green. Or you can make the stuff like the little retractable bollards come up and stop the cars and make them crash into them instantly as you drive by. And just, there's a load of cool little things. And the problem with Watch Dogs 1 is it's fucking like awful. Like the story is horrendous. The character
Takes
you
itself
play
way
as
too seriously.
takes itself way too seriously. You play as a character called Aiden Pierce, whose niece dies and it's his fault, and he becomes this broody guy, and his solution is, I'm going to murder everybody else because somebody else murdered my fucking niece. And then the story's not going to even talk about how he's a brutal murderer of all these people and try and make him still relate to his sister who he fell out with because of it and stuff like that. It's such a shit game. And then 2 kind of turned it on its head, and it was like, okay, this is dumb. What if we just have stupid fun and have its personality be hacking movies and everything from like the 90s and 2000s, and have it be that kind of hacker culture kind of
Embrace
dead
the
set.
absurdity.
Embraced it, kind of mixed Saints Row and GTA and made it like a halfway point in a way where you're not whacking each other with dildos, but you're also not nitty gritty talking about drug cartels and stuff like that. It's like a halfway point. And it's just
like
stupid
if you
fun.
could just control any computer in the city, what would you do?
Yeah, and you have a drone in your backpack that you can go around with, and you have like you can play that entire game as a pacifist because you're a hacker, right? So you can play it with a stun gun and a fucking baton, and you can just go around beating the shit. He has like this really cool weapon which I've not seen in a game again, where it's like it's like two balls on a string. I don't know what it's called, but it's like two ball like
bola?
metal. Yeah, he's got a
Yeah.
bowler, so he's got 2 balls on a string. He's just going around like fucking whacking people with it. It's just sick. It's just such a stupid weapon, but I love
Nice.
it. And it's just like I say, it's just light-hearted fun. Where I was like, to me, that was it. It was kind of like that Ubisoft moment again of they did it. They fucked up the first one and they kind of fixed it in 2. And I was like, okay, I like Watch Dogs now. That's cool. Then no one played it because everyone hated Watch Dogs 1. And then
Oof.
Watch Dogs 3, they were like, oh,
It was the anti-Assassin's Creed 2 effect.
And then Watch Dogs 3 just went a bit too shit, and it was just like, it's too much like 1, and the gimmick sucks. So again, if they ever made another Watch Dogs, which I doubt because Legion was so hated, I wouldn't play it. But it's the
Legion
definition
sounds
of
like a cool concept.
It's a cool concept. Oh yeah, when I first heard it, I was
Okay,
like,
so if it
great
had a
concept.
central character and you could recruit other people, that would have probably made it much better. Because if they're all just generic people, then why would you care? Like
It also
the
has
the novelty of smacking someone around with an old lady would get old after a while.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of did it with they have like an AI called Bagley, who is like kind of the link
Bagley.
between everyone. Yeah,
Exactly.
and he's like this He's like because it's in London, so he's like this kind of British fucking AI who's very sarcastic and dry, and it's like he's all right, but it's like it doesn't mean
Buddies
anything between
with
it.
Chadley from FF7 remake.
His name is Bagley.
He's also it's just like I say, the gimmick doesn't really work because once you have a character who's good, you don't want to use anybody else. It's just like it's just a bit of a shit video game, to be honest. It was pretty mediocre. Wasn't a fan of it, but 2 is still fun. It's not like I guess I put it on my list because it's an example of taking a shit game and actually making a good one from the ideas of it. That was my kind of example.
Yeah.
I would not put it in like a top 10, top 20, top 30, top 100 games of all time that I like, right? I wouldn't put it in a list. But it's a great example of taking a game that was fucking awful and had a really bad rap and going, okay, back to the drawing board. Let's make it fun. And they did that. It was fun. I had a good time. And I have a friend who likes Watch Dogs 1 more, and to him I say, you're a fucking moron, because that's not true in the slightest. Anyway, Watch Dogs round over. I also realised that ever since I did that paper thing, my webcam's got a bit laggy. Oh well, it's fine. We'll live.
Well, I guess we'll hit the better, or the side of the the Ubisoft coin here, the other way with Assassin's Creed.
Dude, I love Assassin's Creed 2. It's like my guilty pleasure. It's like people shit on Assassin's Creed all the time, but it's like Assassin's Creed 2 is like I genuinely would put Assassin's Creed in like my top 30 games of all time, probably. I love that game. There's something about Assassin's Creed 2.
A lot of even these days design choices in open worlds owe it to this one.
Dude, people always act like, this is what I hate about, like, people act like Assassin's Creed has always been a franchise that's been awful. Like, people always act like, people always go, oh, you know what? Like, Assassin's Creed,
it just
bad.
peaked really soon.
That fix it? There we go. That fixed it.
Is all.
I can't get it to fix itself. Damn it. Anyway. Yeah, no, it was like, Assassin's Creed was a game franchise that did like the reason people loved Assassin's Creed 2 was because it was so fucking good. That's the thing, is it's a great story, again, filled with great characters.
Ezio is a great main character.
He is. There's a reason why Ezio's theme and Ezio as a character is still kind of the figurehead of this franchise a decade later.
Yeah, not the normie that you're playing as throughout the, all of them.
Not Desmond or Layla or any of the other modern day characters who know.
Or any of the other assassins, even. Like,
no. Like, there are, don't get me wrong, there are good assassins in the franchise. Like, there are other good assassins.
Yeah, I'm sure Pirate Guy is probably great.
Yeah, not Connor, what's his name? Kenway.
Edward
Kenway, that's it. Edward Kenway. Because you've got Connor Kenway, you've got Connor, who is technically Connor Kenway, then you've got Haytham, and then you've got Edward. So it's Edward, yeah. Haytham's the middle one, the Templar. But yeah, so Edward Kenway, who I absolutely love. Arno from Unity is probably the only good thing about Unity.
Really?
And the parkour. And then Evie Fry from Syndicate is also, I like Evie. She's quite cool. I think Sandra's also good in Odyssey, but I'm not really a massive fan of the new Assassin's Creed. But no, Assassin's Creed 2 is like, it like we were talking with games that you mentioned, Kyle, like Melee and stuff like that. It took everything from the first game. The first game kind of felt like a tech demo, an unfinished.
Yeah, it was like a proof of concept.
And 2 really solidified it. And it just is. It's like the quintessential like PS3
sandbox game.
Yeah, sandbox game. And it's just
bent Grand Theft Auto 5.
It is, and it was that perfect blend where the modern day still felt interesting, and it was like and there was like just such weird, like the Subject 16 stuff with the things being implanted in the Animus, and you getting these really creepy things and the hints of what happened in these futuristic things that you're like, why is this here? There's so much interesting stuff, and behind it all is just a heartfelt story about somebody losing their family and their response to that. And it's like I said, I love Ezio, and Roger Craig Smith is incredible, and it's honestly, in my opinion, Ezio's his best performance. I absolutely adore him as Ezio. The whole Ezio trilogy still holds up. It doesn't matter how old they are. They're like the only Assassin's Creed games in my eyes that still hold up to this day. Like, Assassin's Creed 4 is also great, but man, Assassin's Creed 2 is like, it's iconic for a reason. And also Ezio's theme, one of the best video game themes, period. Like, that theme will forever give me chills. And I love that fucking title screen at the start where him and his brother on top of the tower, and they're just talking about the good times. And I just love the fucking line of "May this never change," and then it just plays the theme, and it's like, it's great. And then everything goes downhill. Fucking love it. Great game.
Oh god,
good game.
Yeah, that's exactly one of those
now. I want to replay it
again. When you go back and play it again, it's like, oh.
Yeah. Oh god, fucking Da Vinci and everything. Oh, great game, dude. Man. Fucking great game.
So
god,
good.
When Assassin's Creed was good. Gonna replay it now. Hate myself, but I'm gonna love it.
Finish Xenoblade first.
No. Assassin's Creed.
No. Okay. Assassin's Creed 2 book club. Let's go,
Assassin's
Ethan.
Creed 2 for the 15th time. Let's go. I played that game so damn much. What a game, though. Adore it. Anyway, what's next?
Anyways, tell me why I should play Horizon 2.
It's just Horizon 1, but better. Like, if you don't like
Oh,
Horizon 1, you're not gonna like Horizon
gross.
2. Yeah.
Gross.
I don't know.
All right, next game.
The thing with Horizon 2 is like Horizon 2, it's been a few months since Horizon 2 came out.
Yeah.
And it's like, I loved Horizon 2 when it came out, but it's almost got this kind of, I like to call it like early year game syndrome, where it's like, it doesn't matter how much you adore a game in the first 3 months of the year. Even if a game that isn't as good comes out later that you also like, you're gonna think that's your game of the year. I don't know why that happens, but it's like if something comes out in January through March, it doesn't matter how fucking fantastic it is, there's gonna be a part of you that's like, yeah, like it's like how I'm feeling right now. It's like I adored Horizon. I was like, I remember specifically saying, I'll be shocked if anything comes out this year that I think is better, that will not be my game of the year. And I'm sitting here playing Xenoblade.
Was that before Xenoblade was like confirmed though?
No, it was Xenoblade was announced at that point. I was like, even Xenoblade.
When. Yeah.
No, because I hate Xenoblade gameplay up until 3.
Yeah,
I don't particularly enjoy going about it. So I was like, I'd be very shocked. And now I'm playing Xenoblade 3, and I'm like, I think Xenoblade 3 might have taken it. We'll see. We'll see if it sticks to the landing. I don't know. I'm still probably like not even halfway through. Cringe.
That's kind of how I felt about Pokemon Legends Arceus. I forgot that game even came out.
Definitely. But the thing, looking back at Horizon, I'm just like, it is like such a solid video game. And again, we're talking about best sequels. So I said there was some like Assassin's Creed 2 that kind of defined a generation and kind of defined a genre. Horizon isn't that. Forbidden West isn't that. But what it does is it takes a game like Zero Dawn that was solid, that I really liked but didn't love.
Really good foundation.
It fixed every single issue I had with the original game. And it's like, it didn't change anything enough to make people that didn't like the original like this new one. But man, did they change every single nitpick that I had, every single issue that I had, whether it was the extremely rough and extremely stiff animations of any conversation in Horizon Zero Dawn. Forbidden West feels like every single cutscene was like handcrafted, even though a lot of it isn't, and a lot of it is motion capture. It's very, the facial animation is outstanding. The visuals, it's still one of the best looking video games I've ever played.
Dude, I honestly forgot like seeing the trailers and all that, and it being so many years since I had played Zero Dawn. I didn't realize how much of a glow up it was.
It truly is.
And then I saw some clips of like the original game after beating Forbidden West. I'm like, oh man, okay. They pulled the whole memory trick where they just made it look like I remembered the other one being.
Yeah, it is. It's fantastic, and it has a world that you just want to explore. It's just like it has a world that's so intriguing and so enticing that you just want to explore it.
The cultures they introduce in this one are both interesting, as far as the two new kind of tribes.
I think the new tribes that they introduce in
they're more interesting
Forbidden West
than the
are
other
far
ones,
more
to be
interesting
honest.
than the ones in the original, because you actually get, without spoiling too much, I feel like it's been 6 months. Calm down, guys. It actually has been 6 months since August. Jesus, I was like, I'm overshooting. I'm like, no, it has been 6 months. Jeez.
No, you're right.
But you get to see tribes from different countries and also from a different region of the US. You kind of gone from your central kind of Americas to your West. So it's like there's different cultures and it's very different, and it's a lot more Mad Maxy out in the West, it seems. And you know, you have your first glimpse of what the tribes over in Asia seem to be like, which is interesting. And that's why I really hope from Horizon 3 is that we get to go to somewhere that isn't America, would be my hope, that we get to go to Asia or we get to go to Europe.
Horizon 3 World Tour.
Basically, I just want to see something else. But it fixes every problem I had to make just a solid game that, it's like, I don't know how many awards it'll win. Probably none, because I think Elden Ring's going to sweep everything.
A few less than it deserves.
Yeah. But it's just everything about that game is just solid, and it just refined everything in that video game. It's fantastic, and it definitely fits in. to the
I
best number 2 was anyway.
Yeah,
I really
for
wished I
sure.
could get into Horizon, but the first one just wasn't doing anything for me.
No, that's fair enough. Like I say, it's also the thing with those kind of open world games is what I hate most open world games nowadays is the mixture of RPG mechanics into open worlds where it's like
Mm,
you must do some side shit to progress. I miss the old days. Like Watch Dogs is a great example of that. Watch Dogs 2 is a great example. Assassin's Creed 2 is a great example of that. Where it was just you want to play the main story, just do the fucking main story. We're not going to limit anything off based on your power level or your level requirements. Do
yeah.
what you want. That's what I miss because that stuff. I feel like a lot of that feels like bloatware in a way where it's just kind of forcing you
Yeah,
to
for
engage in the other
sure.
content, and I don't want to do that. You know, it's it's dumb. It's like I was playing Ghost of Tsushima the other week, and I just fucking ran through the main story, and I'm like, you know what, this is a lot more enjoyable if you just got to play the story over it just by itself.
It's almost like Ghost of Tsushima would have been more fun in general if they would have truncated it a little bit.
Oh, 100%. It
Give me
goes
a
on for
cool
way too
samurai
long.
action game.
If it wasn't an open world game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no. Anyway, that's that. Do I have any other open world games on here? Oh shit, I do. Wow.
You sure
Red
do.
Dead.
Do I get that one out of the way?
Might
Yeah,
as well.
tell me what's up with Red Dead Redemption 2.
It's iterative again. It's like Red Dead 1 is still my favorite. I adore Red Dead
Yeah.
1. Red Dead 1 has a special place in my heart. But Red Dead 2 is like stupid. And what I mean by that is like I hate the fact that this game was crunched to death and a load of people did far too many hours
God,
to do
sucks.
things that were so fucking arbitrary it's unreal. But also then I'm also blown away by how fucking intricate and detailed and everything is in that game. And it's
The
just
details in this game are like the game development equivalent of owning a mega yacht or something. Like,
yeah,
it's
not
completely
necessary.
unnecessary.
But I think the thing that this game does I feel the thing that this game does better is world design and just how the world feels like, it feels like a world that's lived in. It doesn't feel like a open world. I don't consider Red Dead Redemption 2 an open world game in a way. It is a story where I am traversing I'm going through this world, and yeah, it very much is. There's the objective markers and there's the side quests and stuff like that. But it doesn't feel like an open world because I'm not playing it like that. I'm living in this world, and it's like someone will
I
be like,
understand what
meet
you
me in
mean.
Valentine. And I'm like,
Like,
okay, let's head to Valentine then. I'm not going, okay, there's an objective in Valentine, but there's a side quest here and a thing there. Let's do all this and round it up. I'm just living in that world. And it's very rare for me to play a game like that. It's even like, let's bring Xenoblade 3 up again. I'm playing Xenoblade 3,
Yeah.
I'm loving the shit out of it, but I'm also playing it like a video game. I'm going side quest here, side quest there, back to Colony 9, let's see if there's a side quest there. Hello, Gamma, any side quest there? Let's do that side quest instead of the main story. Whereas in Red Dead, I'm just stumbling upon things and just going with the game takes you for that ride, and I'm just doing it. And it's almost like I'm not side quest hunting. I'm not going, okay, I need these collectibles. I need to do this. I need to do that. I'm just living in it because the world feels like it's lived in. It feels like a real place. Also, the
yeah.
story of Red Dead Redemption 2 is fantastic. And it's like, if you have played GTA games and you're like, why do people think Rockstar and incredible storytellers like I used to think, because I used to play GTA and I was like, GTA stories are fine, but there's nothing groundbreaking here. Red Dead 1 and in particularly Red Dead 2 are masterclasses of storytelling. Like, they're phenomenal stories. And the
Man, the little
performances.
bit I know about it, as far as the story goes, there's a lot to just recontextualize the first game to just make it even more depressing.
It does. I feel like that's the job of a good prequel stroke sequel.
Yeah.
Is if it recontextualizes the original in such a way that it affects the way you view it, and not necessarily in a negative way, but it enhances the way that that game's played. I feel like it does an incredible job. I wish that one day we get a remake of Red Dead 1. I truly
Oh,
do,
that'd be cool.
just because of how fucking great Red Dead 2 is. If you would have
Red
told me
Dead
before
Redemption Part 1.
basically. Or they call it Red Dead Redemption Actual 2. Like, I don't know, like, get it, do a remake of Red Dead 2, call it Red Dead Redemption, and then call Red Dead 1 Red Dead 2 now, so they're in the right order. I don't know. But
It's just
Red Dead Revolver 2.
Red Dead 2 is just fantastic, and the characters are fantastic, and the world is incredible. It still has those open world tropes, it still has those dog shit Rockstar controls, but there's just something about it that is just unreal, like genuinely. It's a game that I want to replay one day, but also I was kind of hoping there'd be a next gen patch, but now we know Rockstar doesn't give a shit about Red Dead 2 anymore. They're just going to make GTA 6 and just leave us all to cry. So, maybe I'll play it again soon. But
oh, wow.
Fantastic game. Please bring Red Dead 1 to PS4. Please. I'll take the original. Please give us it, because more people deserve to play Red Dead 1 because it's fantastic as well.
Honestly.
I would give it a try if it was presented to me.
Dude, it's good. It's good. It's fantastic. Although, to be fair, you can also just play 2 first as well, because they're both fantastic. And that
was my next question.
They did a good job with Red Dead 2, where they assume that you know nothing. My friend played them in the order of 2 and 1. And
cool.
If anything, it's similar to Xenoblade in a way where you can very much play either or, and playing either or first will impact the way you feel about different ones. Characters show up in Red Dead 1 that are in Red Dead 2. If you've played Red Dead 1 first, it's interesting to see the backstory and where everything was and how people were. And I'm sure if you play Red Dead 1 first, it's interesting to see how everything's fucked up and how everything's moved on. But no, they can both be played. But also, it's an open world, but also, again, Red Dead 2, you can just golden path it if you feel like it. You can just go through the story. It's a long-ass story, though, so be prepared for a long-ass story.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for a long game right now.
Yeah, it's long as shit.
Unfortunately.
They are long as shit. But no, good game, regardless. Anyway, what's left? I feel like... Oh, I can rapid fire the rest of these, dude. I can rapid fire the rest of these. Sly 2. I'll do Sly 2 quickly, because we talked about Sly 3 earlier. The reason I picked Sly 2 was, again, Sly 1 created the franchise, Sly 2,
expanded.
Defined the franchise.
Yeah.
It set what Sly is and what the other 3 games were, and it's just fantastic. There's not really much to add to what we were talking about earlier. Again, coin flip on which game I think is the best, but Sly 2 is fantastic.
It's a good set of worlds and a good way to cap off the Clockwork arc.
Also, just the thing, I've never seen a 3D platformer as long as Sly 2. Like, I genuinely haven't. Sly 2 is a mammoth video game. There's 8 episodes.
So long.
There are 8 episodes, and each one's 3 to 4 hours long. I've never seen a 3D platformer this long. And now, I didn't ever think about it as a kid, but now I look back and I'm like...
squeeze Mario Odyssey for everything it's worth.
Genuinely, it's like a linear 3D
Donkey
platformer
Kong 64.
with mini open world. Like Sly 2, is crazy.
Yeah.
I replayed it.
I'm looking it up at how long to beat. Yeah, how long to beat Sly 2 Band of Thieves. Main story, on average, that's just golden pathing. 15 hours.
Jeez.
For a 3D platformer.
Right. That is long for a 3D platformer.
That's just the main story as well. Bang for your buck right there, dude. Like, genuinely. What a long-ass game, but good. Fantastic. Love that game.
Then you have the clue bottles you can also get.
I never
30 in each world, and go on a fun little scavenger hunt.
Actually, I must have done it, because I bet
crazy.
Oh, fucking hell yeah, I did. Fucking... When there's one left, and you're just like...
When you played that game, were you like phantom hearing the little tink, tink, tink of the bottle rocking back and forth?
I can hear it. You go crazy because you're sitting there, you're like, I've been looking for this thing for 30 minutes.
Okay, not just me. Good to know.
You go to sleep and wake up later in a cold sweat, hearing the tink, tink, tink.
It especially happens in Paris in the first level. I don't know why. I think there's something in Paris. Do you know what it is? I think, the little lights that are hanging between the roofs? I think they also blow in the wind, so it's like everything's just like out to get you in that level. But no,
that makes sense.
Sly 2 is fantastic.
It's a really good game.
I thought I'd mention it.
I super underrated that when I was a kid, but I've come around on it.
Super underrated, period. Anyway, we got 2 left. Which one do you want to talk about?
Bruno.
Spyro 2. It's like a childhood game to me. That is
Yeah,
like
Gateway to Glimmer.
Gateway
as
to
you
Glimmer. Yeah, that is what Gateway to
call
Glimmer.
it.
Yeah, that's what it was called. But no, Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage, I guess. Again, I just think that the thing with 3D platformers a lot of the time is one's the concept, two's defining it and refining it, and then three is we've done that, let's go a bit crazy and make a game that's probably not as good. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's the thing that Crash went through it. You know, to some people, Sly and Ratchet definitely went through it, in my opinion. I love Ratchet 2. Ratchet 2 is such an underrated game. I could have put that in. People love Ratchet 3. Fuck no. Ratchet 2 is the better game. Sit in the bin. The only good thing about Ratchet 3, the Courtney Gears song. Dude, what a bop, dude. Greatest. If we ever do best songs in video games, dude, that shit's coming
Oh,
off.
just specifically songs instead of
songs.
soundtrack.
Yeah.
Oh man, that'll be a good
songs. Courtney Gears. Boss
Let's-
battle.
Well, let's see if we make it 4 weeks before we use that one.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be
Oh,
funny if we did
man.
do it so soon. But no, Courtney Gears' soundtrack, fantastic. But it's like 3D platformers seem to do a 2's the best, 3's a bit. Except for Jack. Jack did the opposite, where 2's the worst. Like, Jesus Christ, Jack and Daxter,
Oh,
what a
yeah.
fuck up that was. Jack 3's better than Jack 2, and Jack 1's the best. Who knew? But no, Spyro to me, I think 2 is the perfect middle ground. I love 1. I think 1's a great collectathon, but 2 to me is like, it's like that mixture. It has the story, it has the world building, it just has excellent levels, and then it also has the variety. Spyro 1 is very much Spyro, where it's you do nothing but collect gems, run around the levels, each and every one of them. Whereas Spyro 2 has the orb challenges, and it has different things in the level, and people to talk to, and people to interact with, and powers, and coming back. It's just, to me, it's just a fantastic platformer. And, you know, again, it just refined what they did in 1 and just made it better, in my opinion. It's like, I don't know, I just have a lot of respect for that game. Speedruns are pretty dope. I love speedruns of that game. I love how they can break into all the bosses, so they get straight to Dragon Shores, get the fire breath, and then do every level with fire breath. It's just a really cool speedrun.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Now, which is the one where he rides a skateboard?
3.
Aww.
Also, I love Spyro 3. People always shit on Spyro 3, and to them I say that Spyro 3 is better at the random bullshit than Crash 3 is. I think Spyro 3 is a better game than Crash 3. Although the remake version is a bit shit. And then finally, I'll quickly rush through this because we've talked about The Last of Us Part 2 to death at this point.
We have a whole spoiler cast about it.
Yeah.
I'm not on it.
All
We
I'll
have a
say,
whole first impressions episode the week before that Kyle
Was
was
he
also
on?
absent for.
Oh, cool. Perfect.
I
Team
was
2.
dope.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
You were
I'm glad
absent
Hunter
for it.
remembers the lore.
I remember. I was like, you were about to say you as well. I'm like, I swear I wasn't in that one either. But no, the thing with Last of Us Part 2.
Did you just talk about Last of Us in that one?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's back in the
And then I
day
think
when
the
we used to
spoiler cast was
stretch
next
those
week.
topics. Yeah, we did back to back. We stretched that, dude. We stretched it.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. Not one of my highlight episodes, I don't think. I don't think those episodes are all right, but it's a bit kind of dumb. Also, I hadn't fully finished the game yet, and I took someone's internet spoiler as like bait, and it was not true. And it was like one of those things where I was like, I should not.
That's what I remember
Yeah,
when you
that's
were
the
talking
one
about
thing
it not
I
being your
remember about
finest
that is
moment.
I hadn't got to I was still in the Ellie section when we did the first impressions, and someone had mentioned how there was obviously there was a trans character called Lev in Last of Us Part 2, and everybody had just heard the words trans and in the Abby side, so a lot of people on the internet were spreading the misinformation that Abby was trans, and because I hadn't got to know Abby yet, I was like, Abby's trans, dude. And I was like, no, you're an idiot and you should never listen to Twitter. And I'm like, lesson learned, dude. Never listen to Twitter.
That's just a rule of thumb, though.
And never talk to it. Yeah, just don't do it, dude. Don't do it. It wasn't worth it. What an idiot I was. But no, Last of Us Part 2, whether you like or hate the story, I don't think it's a Kingdom Hearts 2 situation where the gameplay is better in every single way.
Yeah, the gameplay is better in every way possible. You can crouch, you can duck, you can fight, you can instigate fights between zombies and humans.
Yeah, it's just
You'd-
it's a better game in every way. If you hate or like the story, or if you think that Last of Us Part 1 has a better story, that's perfectly fine. But in terms of sequels, in terms of gameplay, I don't think there's anything that is worse than Last of Us Part 1, Part 2
Yeah.
compared to Part 1.
You don't have goofy sections in water where you have to go get like a pallet for Ellie to climb on so you can push her to shore or whatever.
Yeah.
God, that's one of those things when I think about potentially ever playing the first game again. I'm like, man, those parts are gonna suck.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like I say, everything's great. It's a fantastic game, especially if you weren't playing it during 2020, where
Yeah, if you
Twitter
weren't
was a
playing it
crazy
when
place.
it came out,
Yeah.
it's way
And
better.
if you're not an
now
idiot
when
like me,
people-
where you read Twitter and go, you know what, they're probably telling the truth about The Last of Us Part 2 and say it in a podcast like an idiot. Top
Yeah.
10 moments. If you're ever wondering, hey, I wonder what, if you guys could delete one episode, what episode are you going to ever delete? I'm like, that one, because I was an idiot in it and I listened to Twitter. I listened to Twitter, but I also accept that I was an idiot and I was wrong, and I will stand by myself being an idiot. Oh well, I'll live. And now I've brought it back up in a later episode. Oh well, who cares? It's 2 years ago. Podcast was
Yeah.
done.
So
back
I actually did just go through
like
our
6
our
people heard it.
backlog.
Yeah.
I just went back through our backlog, and that was even before we were using webcams.
It
Yeah,
was.
it was.
So,
Good old Zencaster.
It was, and
classics.
if I think I'm correct, I was that embarrassed about getting it wrong and being an idiot that I think I went back into YouTube Editor and edited that bit out, so it might not actually
Really?
be on the YouTube. Yeah,
I know you put up a
because I felt
comment.
fucking terrible because I listened to Twitter instead of actually doing research. I was like, I'm an idiot, so I put a comment up and I edited it on YouTube Editor, like because I was like, yeah, that's a bad mistake, and that's my bad for listening to Twitter.
Yeah.
And my number one rule now is, if you haven't played it yourself, Ethan, don't fucking talk about it. That was what I learned from that episode, was when we're doing first impressions or we're doing shit, if I don't know, shut the fuck up. Don't listen to Twitter.
Yeah.
And now you know.
Again, though, just good rule of thumb.
Good rule of thumb, dude. Yeah. And like I say, it was early days in the
Delete
podcast.
Twitter if you don't need it.
It also, like I say, guys, it was early days in the
Truthfully.
podcast. It was episode 14. It was like, we've learned a lot
it
since
wasn't.
then.
Yeah, we're a bit more entertaining now.
Enjoy it while you can. Yeah, I feel like a 3-year rule. I think as soon as a season enters its 3rd year, we just start deleting. We're like, goodbye, like hide them. You've got 3 years to watch the episode, or it's gone forever. We'll stick them in the HGO vault like Disney. Get in
And
there.
then sell
Last
them
of Us.
back to you for Patreon later.
I'm
on
only kidding.
HGO Max.
HGO Max, dude, exactly. Oh, I guess we'll have to do another episode of 5 spoiler cast. What a tragedy.
Oh man.
It's all good. Anyway,
I mean, we've been talking about that idea for years.
I'm just saying October might be a good time to do that if we do. Just saying.
That's a
It
good
would be.
idea.
Well, I love how we're talking about this on the podcast. You know, if you got to this point in the podcast, you're a real one, okay? You're the kind of people that stay in usually. Hunter,
Yeah.
are you shocked you're the last one? So let's
Not
do
really.
this.
It seems like this happens 50% of the
It's
time.
always the. Why is Hunter always last? Like, it's always. Oh, well. Let's do this, because I'm already seeing that we're like 1 hour 44, and I'm like, the classic 3x3 strikes again, where we're going to be at least 2 hours deep once again.
I told you, dude.
Dude, I
It
wish I had more
always
sleep.
happens.
I wish I had slept
Alrighty.
more. Anyway. go
Do you
for it,
want
Hunter.
me to give you the countdown then?
Yeah, sure. Unless you have any
3,
preamble.
2, 1.
Okay. Ooh, interesting. Is that a Smash
Yo,
Bros game?
Melee.
That's pretty crazy.
All right. So we've got
Oh, good boy, Hunter.
left to right, top down, Dark Cloud 2, or as people call it in Ethan's land, Dark Chronicle, Soul Calibur 2, Miles Edgeworth and Ace Attorney Investigations 2, Silent Hill 2, Metal Gear Solid 2, Portal 2, Super Smash Bros. Melee, Onimusha 2, and God of War 2.
Right, so I've got 2 questions from the start of this, right? My first
What's up?
question is, do you have anything to add to the Melee conversation? And then I just want you to know, because I don't
not
want Cal to
especially.
pick after this. I want to know what the fuck that Ace Attorney game is. So let's talk about Melee first. Just get those 3 thoughts out there, and then what the fuck is Miles Morales' Ace Attorney?
Miles
all right.
Morales.
Spider-Man
okay.
crossover I
Smash
never
Bros.
knew.
Melee, respect a lot because it did just take what was cool about, the first game and made it better by adding more characters. You added a side special move. That was nice. It's really weird to go back and play N64 and not
Right.
do
I
that.
forgot they did that.
The adventure mode was really cool and novel, and I feel like the single player in Melee is probably the best it's been in the series, to be honest.
Genuinely.
Like in Smash,
Event match was so good.
The event matches were cool. Brawl's Subspace Emissary thing kind of it was only good once. So
Yeah.
and then in Smash 4, I was hardly ever motivated to play that on my own. And in Ultimate, they had the World of Light, which
went on way too long.
Was too long, and unlike Emissary, it was not even good once. It was good for a third, and then bad.
As someone who 100%ed it was a mistake.
Why did I 100% it? That's what I want to know. Is why did I 100% it?
Oh my god!
Good question.
But yeah, Melee was just a fun time, and I have a lot of positive memories associated with like the summers that I was hanging out with my buddy playing that game and discovering things about it. Giga Bowser, the first time I got that to happen, is a core memory.
Yeah, Melee is always the interesting one to me because here we go, right? Safe place, safe circle. We're 2 hours in, like an hour, nearly 2 hours in.
You just talked about The Last of Us too. You got nothing to lose.
I opened up about how I made a fuck up like 100 episodes ago that I could have very easily have never brought up and no one would be the wiser. But I've never played Melee. It's the only Smash game I've never even touched. Like I've played 64 on emulators in IT class, pissing about. I played Brawl at a friend's house once or twice. I owned 4 and Ultimate, but I've never played Melee. Like to this day, not even touched it. Never touched Melee. Because GameCubes are for nerds, and fuck you all, I'm a Chad, baby. Let's go.
Like Melee wouldn't do anything for you.
No, I don't think
I feel like you'd try and move and be like, why are all these characters so heavy?
Probably. Also, it's just like I said, there's no nostalgia there. So I feel like it's a bit like the Mario 64 effect where everybody loves Mario 64 and I don't because I
feel like this game holds up a bit better than Mario 64, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely. It probably definitely does. But at the same time, I won't love it as much as everybody else because I will be playing it as a 24-year-old in the year 2022, not
the things that were cool and novel.
5-year-old,
not an 8-year-old in the early 2000s.
Yeah. All right, so moving on from Melee into Miles Edgeworth Investigations 2.
What the fuck is that? I've never heard of that. It's not real.
Yeah, okay. Edgeworth got his own spin-off games. Edgeworth
fucking didn't. Who the fuck's Edgeworth?
Edgeworth is like he's a fan favorite. He's the main prosecutor of the first game.
He said best sequels, and you're here making shit up. You're like Derpy Sturpy's Ace Attorney. Everybody remembers Gregory Schmutz from Ace Attorney 3 while he got his own spin-off
People
series.
like Edgeworth more than they like Phoenix. He's more popular than the main character.
He's not real. I've never fucking heard of him.
He's not real.
I've not heard of Derpy Sturpy, dude. You're chatting shit.
This has got to be the stinger. Oh man,
it's gotta be. I'm writing the timestamp down right now.
Oh my god. Okay, so Miles Edgeworth, famous for being the prosecutor in the first game, has a really cool arc throughout like the whole original trilogy. He got his own spin-offs for the DS. This one never got released outside of Japan, but someone translated it, and
that explains
it. It makes me real sad.
Yeah,
the first game got really the first Miles Edgeworth game did get released outside into the like everyone else could play it, but that one wasn't that good. Like it's really it's really funny because like Edgeworth 2 top 3 in the series. Miles Edgeworth 1 like bottom 3. And it's not because that one was particularly bad. It just wasn't like that good either. But the only memorable case was the one at the end, and the second one I remember specifically just because it took place on like a plane, so that was interesting, and it stuck out for that reason. But Edgeworth 2, the whole thing, like most of Ace Attorney games, like the chapters and cases take place kind of almost episodically, where they don't necessarily feed into each other the later you get in the series. the more they might draw on something you might have known if you played a previous one or something. But this one tells a really cool and interesting story with each chapter of the game feeding into the mystery overall in a way that's awesome. And like from case 3 forward, like the other two are really solid setups. The third case will stick in my head better than like some of the games in like in the second half of the series in general. That one's really good. And then the way that they conclude it with the last chapter is fantastic. And they add like gameplay elements that are cool too, like logic chess essentially is a cool stylized way of your rebuttals and stuff feeding into each other. They built on the Edgeworth's evidence, the way the evidence works in that game. You kind of like take the evidence and you also put it together with like a notion that he has in a way that's neat. So yeah, Miles Edgeworth too.
Phoenix right in this game? Or
no, he's not. This is Edgeworth off. Edgeworth is off doing Edgeworth things. This is
cool.
Yeah, it's a fun time. And like I think this came out after Apollo Justice, so a bunch of characters that you just don't see in the later half of the series show up. So that's nice because like Gumshoe isn't in Apollo Justice, or well, he has a cameo and a flashback, but he isn't in that or Dual Destinies or Spirit of Justice. And Franziska von Karma isn't in those either, and she shows up here. So a bunch of people you didn't get to see would be making fun little returns in this game.
It's not real.
Nice.
I almost picked the Great Ace Attorney too for this, but
that's a real game. Yeah, I've heard that one. That was real.
I played that in like I played it as one thing is the problem. So I felt weird separating those because that is literally those two are part of the same story.
So instead, you decided to make up a random game that didn't
I can't Hunter invented the game and made artwork for it.
I made the artwork. This is as bad as Metroid Dread.
To be fair, these characters do look like if someone on Twitter went and had a field day and made some characters. Like, look, dude, someone made Robbie Damon as an Ace Attorney character. Someone made fucking... does look like a what if scenario, but fair enough. I'll accept that it's a video game.
Lysander from Pokemon X and Y.
Yeah, dude.
Which one's that?
The one way in the back with the stupid hair and the fur coat.
True.
Oh, did you hate it on Lang? Lang's cool.
I don't know their names.
Anyway, Kyle, you pick
You
one
could
of
have made
these.
that up.
I bullied Hunter.
Ethan thinks I made everything up.
It's all made up, dude.
I believe Ethan.
Dude. Yeah, Dude, there's no way that there's a video game called Ace Attorney Miles Edgeworth Investigations, dude. That is not real.
Investigations
Prosecutor's Path. There's a subtitle. Oh my god.
Wrong. Anyway, Kyle, pick something else to bully him over.
Oh man.
We can talk about the old God of War.
Right now,
God of War 2?
So hear me out. I think it's a very bold move, Hunter, to put Ragnarok on your list because you know
before
it's not out yet. Yeah, it's not out yet. As we know, there's only one God of War game, so
yeah,
everyone knows.
All right,
this.
so God of War 2 was cool because like it does what we've talked about good sequels doing, where it basically takes what worked in the gameplay and refines it. Like the only thing that's better in the first game about it is the story. As far as the level design in this one, the cool like quick time event finishers in this one, and just the way it feels to play in general are so much better in God of War 2. It adds like sub weapons that, you know, are novel. I never use them for more than a combo or two in between, like smacking things around with the Blades of Chaos. The magic is cool in this one compared to like the only thing I liked in the first game was Poseidon's Rage, and I feel like I used the magic moves in this one a bit more, so that's nice. The first boss battle in this game is so good. the Colossus of Rhodes. You fight him. You're like, he basically takes up the whole first level. You're fighting him like intermittently, and it just wraps up really nicely. It's a really good like showpiece. It's a really good showpiece for like God of War knows how to put its best foot forward with the first boss battles in like every game, honestly. Because Poseidon in 3 was the best part of that one, and then the Hydra was the best fight in the other one. Yeah.
2 is an interesting game because it's like, you know, it's a PS2 game that came out after the PS3. It's
the
like
swan song of the PS2.
Yeah,
like it came out in 2007.
Yeah. Such a weird game.
Yeah.
It came out a year after the PS3 came out. Like it truly, and they didn't do a cross-gen thing. They didn't make a version for PS3. No. It was solely a PS2 game. And it's
so
just,
was
it's
God of War 3 on PS3?
Yeah, it came out in 2010.
3 in Ascension are the PS3 ones.
I had it in my head that the whole trilogy was on PS2.
They did do a
they did an HD collection for 1 and 2, and then later they did like this whole saga bundle where they had, but this was still in the PS3 era where they gave you the PSP games too. It was wacky.
I always think it's interesting that they did a remaster of 3 and not 1 and 2 as well. That's always been weird to me for the PS4.
I think they did that just because it was probably, I don't know.
You see,
they probably up-resed it easier.
Yeah, but also it was the PS3 one, and PS3 games are notorious for conversion. So it's like it was very weird choice.
I know, but like the weirdest part about the whole PS3 games that are stranded is that not every PS3 game got stranded. There were a bunch of games that got brought over to the PS4, like Mass Effect, or not Mass Effect, BioShock and Arkham and such. So it's just weird when things like Metal Gear Solid 4 and Dead Space are stuck.
I still don't understand how Red Dead Redemption... Do you know what pisses me off the most about Red Dead Redemption? Is Red Dead Redemption is a third-party video game that did not get a PC release. So that game is genuinely trapped on PS3 and Xbox. Luckily, Xbox is backwards compatible, and Red Dead 1 is on Series X. Like, it got a 4K patch and everything. So it's like, on Xbox, you can at least play it. Yeah. It's trapped on PS3, and there's no PC version. I'm like, how do games get stuck on the PS3 of all fucking consoles to get stuck on? The PS3.
I know, right? Like, ugh.
All those good exclusives. The Ratchet trilogy, fucking gone. Future trilogy, stay there. Stay dead on PS3. Sly 4, stay dead on PS3.
Dragon Age,
Metal Gear 4, stay dead. Like, sit down. And it's like, why?
Splatterhouse.
Yeah, so many good games. Anyway,
but yeah, God of War 2 is. I think of the original 3, it is like my favorite of them because it's like this. So 3 hit a sweet spot with the gameplay that felt the best as far as like moment to moment, but it wasn't such an improvement that God of War 2 felt weird to go back to. And I liked the overall level design and just the way it flows into itself better into.
So I feel like that's a common theme though as well, you know. I feel like, because it's like, you know, when Cory Barlog came back for 2018, everybody was kind of like, here we go, Return of the King kind of moment. So I feel like everybody has a soft spot for 2.
Yeah, I think it was probably the fan favorite before 2018. Yeah.
Anyway, it's a good game.
Yeah, good stuff.
Good stuff. What is next? I also love how you failed to crop that properly on God of War 2.
Oh, shoot. Okay, I'll fix that.
Yeah, you
later.
Better. You better. That's what it said to me.
I see it now.
Oops.
Good job, Hunter.
Let's
Dude, he was too busy making Miles Edgeworth.
Yeah,
I was editing this while I was playing. I was editing this image while I was playing video games with my brother earlier. Right.
So like, this is Dark Chronicle 2. Dark whatever.
Dark
2.
Chronicle is what it was called. It's Dark Cloud 2. I picked the European.
Why did you pick the European of art?
Because it was the better image. All of the ones for Dark Cloud 2 were like pixels, man. Okay, I don't know why this one had the better.
So was Dark Cloud 1 called Dark Cloud in Europe then, and then they called the second one Dark Chronicle?
I believe so.
Okay,
yeah.
Fair enough. Interesting take.
You want me to talk about this one then?
Yeah.
All right.
No.
Dark Cloud 2. Dark Cloud 2. I don't necessarily like this one more than Dark Cloud. Uh, I think, but it does undoubtedly do the gameplay of the first game substantially better because there was a whole bunch of quality of life improvements in this one. Like weapons don't break forever when you lose their durability. That happened in the first game, and it was always really sad when the thing that I would spend hours upgrading just was gone. Poof. I do one combo and a rock blocks it, and hours of work disappear. In this game, they just stop doing damage until you repair them, which is much better. Thank you. The first game had a thirst meter that wasn't that hard to keep tabs on, but could get kind of annoying.
JRPG having a thirst meter. I thought that happened automatically, guys. I mean, come on, mommy.
But yeah, so like
You
it
can
wasn't
tell the recording's going on too long.
so it wasn't a problem.
We're getting to that 3 a.m. part where Ethan loses his
after
mind.
you like Dark Cloud 1's main problem was that the difficulty was super front loaded because your resources were kneecapped in the beginning, and once you get to like the swing of things, it's smooth sailing. But yeah, and then Dark Cloud 2, you had two central characters that got developed over time rather than every new area you went to. You was rolling the dice on whether they were interesting, and the party member that joins you is interesting, and they also quit mattering to the story after you get them, except for Osmond in the first game kept being important for a little bit. But yeah, so in general, it just managed to take everything that the first game did and add to it and make it better feeling. At least I like the first game's story more, and I think its music is better by just a hair, and that's why I prefer it. I always lose steam when I play this one. It's like after chapter 5, the story becomes intolerable.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Kyle, where are we going next?
Soul Calibur 2.
All right.
Good. I know nothing. Time to sleep.
It's okay, I've played this.
Soul Calibur 2 is my favorite in the series, probably because like I played the GameCube version. You could play as Link in that version, so it was pretty swanky. He had a really great grab move where he'd like front flip over someone's arm and like smack him off the ledge if you did it right, because it was super busted. It was great. But in general, it took the bones of I didn't spend that much time in Soul Calibur 1. Honestly, I think I might have only have played that in passing at arcades and just done like a ladder with a character or two here and there. But you know, it still felt good. This improved on it, expanded the roster. Some fan favorites like Raphael were introduced in this one. He is fantastic. They have this cool yeah, he's great. He's my favorite that isn't Link in this game. On top of the regular arcade modes with the endings for each character and all that, they have a adventure kind of mode, which is kind of like this AU thing where they're telling the story of the two swords, Soul Edge and Soul Calibur. And they're using like the characters as stand-ins for. They're using the characters in like Soul Calibur's lore as stand-ins for the characters that they're telling the story with. So it's real neat, and you can like unlock more weapons for each person that way, and it was a fun time. The cool thing about that mode is that the weapons you unlock, you can bring them back with you into like you'll have like arcade extra mode where suddenly you're like busted Soul Edge weapon you can use on the arcade mode, and it's a lot of fun. I really like this one, and the music in it, undefeated.
It was pretty solid. I played this for the first time in 2019.
That's a bad frame for Cal to freeze
2020 before COVID hit. I played that at college with some friends.
Oh, nice. Which version did they have?
They had the GameCube one.
They had the best
I feel like everybody owned the GameCube one.
I had the GameCube version first, and then like my brother, I forget if he was borrowing that GameCube for a really long time or if he just gave the GameCube.
Is he still borrowing it?
No, like we lost the GameCube. Vanished eventually, and I don't remember if it was on a very long loan or if he just gave the one that he had himself away. But it didn't matter at that point because we had a Wii. But
anyways, yeah, I played Soul Calibur 2 post playing Soul Calibur 6, and frankly Soul Calibur 2 holds up.
Yeah,
A lot of what I did in Soul Calibur 6 carried over into this game
well,
too,
like the one
which is
thing.
weird.
Yeah. The one thing that Soul Calibur 6 has on 2 is the fact that you can create a character yourself to be in the story mode.
Hmm.
Like, aside from that, like, Soul Calibur 2 is still fantastic. And you know, the weird thing about that is I don't remember when they started character creation. I don't know if it was 3 or 4.
I think it was 3.
Okay, and I didn't play 3, so I don't know if they had an adventure mode in that one. But there was no, like, adventure mode in 4. There was an arcade mode, and then there was, like, a challenge tower, but that was not the same thing.
You know, I'm thinking all I'm learning is I missed out as a kid never owning a fighting game in my life. I feel like that's what I've learned. My first fighting game that I owned.
Now.
Dude, no, I hate fighting games now. I'm too old. Just the learning and all that, the skill gap. I'm like,
Oh, dude,
Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Soul Calibur, it can be relatively monkey brain if you're not playing
Oh,
against
yeah.
anyone who knows what they're
I'm
doing.
just like,
slap you,
Super Unga.
just give you a night, just let you play as Nightmare and smack people around. Or Raphael is literally stab people really fast. That's all you do. It's great.
He does cool flippy kicks.
I'm just resigning to being old and not ever playing fighting games properly. To be honest, I've just given up on that hope. Like I say, my first fighting game was Smash 4 that I owned myself.
Oh man,
I was
Soul Calibur
16 years old.
Also has the best fighting game intro I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's a work of art right there.
Sure is, man. Oh, so good.
Okay.
I think I've said everything I've got about it.
Cool. So, Onimusha 2.
Onimusha 2. All right, this one is fun because they refuse to acknowledge the series.
That's what you think. I refuse to acknowledge the series.
I'm surprised you don't think I made that one up because Onimusha sounds like a way more.
I've heard it before.
Yeah.
Who hasn't heard of Onimusha? Am I right, guys? That's not fake.
Yeah,
Unlike that
that's a
Ace Attorney
classic.
shite. That's fucking yeah.
It's
one of
what
them.
Ghost of
Mom
Tsushima
played
could have
Onimusha
been.
2.
All right. So Onimusha 2 was cool mostly because it kind of played pretty similarly to the first game as far as this is before they had the 3D control. Like they didn't have analog control for these games until 3. But
oh no.
It doesn't feel as bad as like an old Resident Evil game because he strafes if you just push the side buttons, so it's fine because you just still move. You can like shuffle or you do a little shuffle thing while you're targeted onto the things, and it's fine. You know, it plays pretty similarly to the first game as far as the moment-to-moment things. What I really like about this one is that it is rather experimental in the beginning, where the first few hours of the game you're like playing in this mining town where these demons have swarmed the mine and it's upsetting people, and you're trying to like find these orbs that'll give you the magic Onimusha power essentially. And while you're doing that,
they said the thing.
I'm paraphrasing.
Title drop.
They did the thing.
I don't know if they ever actually say the thing. They said what is
the
called
thing. No, they said
there is what is called the Oni. It's like a tribe of people in this game.
Yes, I know.
And the other tribe, the Musha.
Yeah, the Musha are not there, but anyway. So in the first couple of hours, you meet a few people, and you can like purchase items and give them gifts and stuff. And how you do that will influence who shows up to help you later. And it's a really cool idea, especially for a game that came out in like 2002, to implement it in like a kind of hack and slash game, because these characters are more interesting than your side characters anyway are more interesting than your buddy that you had tagging along with you in the first game. Jubei, the main character, Jubei Yagyu, is not super great, but like the other guys, there was a dude with a gun that was pretty sweet. There was a ninja. There was a bald monk who liked to drink a lot. They were all goofy and fun. Yeah, they were goofy and fun in their own ways. And if you knew what you were doing when you played, or like on a replay, you could get all of them to show up and help you and do all of their little branches. But chances are you weren't going to be able to do that the first time. So it was kind of like pick who you like and they'll be your buddy for the whole game.
Yeah.
And On top of this, they managed to do old Capcom level design is fantastic, and they managed to pull it off in a way that every area felt like they were like sectioned off areas that felt like actual cool, unique locations, and they managed to expand on the first game. Basically, had you in like a feudal Japanese mansion castle kind of deal with a couple of side paths, and this one had like 3 or 4 of those, essentially, not exactly feudal Japanese castles, but like 4 big areas like that all felt really cool and unique from each other. So yeah. Onimusha 2. I wish they ported the first game to PS4 like 3 or 4 years ago, and I really was hoping that they were going to get to 2 and 3, and maybe if they were feeling especially generous, the 4th game that no one remembers exist.
No one. Oh well.
How dare
Right.
you? The 4th one was my favorite.
Yeah, same. Classic.
What's it
with
called?
the Oni and the Musha?
Called
Onimusha 4.
Onimusha
Fuck you.
4.
Yeah, get in the
No, there was no number in it. It was called Onimusha Dawn of Dreams.
No, but the fans call it Onimusha 4 because we
Onimusha
like
4
to keep it simple.
parentheses the 4th one.
Yeah. We like to call it
colon.
Onimusha 4 or the 4th Onimusha. Thank you very much. Kyle, there's 3 left. What do you want to pick?
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear Solid 2 is perhaps my favorite second entry in a series ever. Because it does everything I'd want a sequel to do. All of the gameplay things from the first game that you think should like be improved upon. You can now aim in first person. You were at the mercy of an auto aim in the first game. You can hide guards' bodies in like lockers and stuff. You can crouch and move under. You could do that before. Never mind. But
fake fan. We got it, boys. We got him. We fucking caught him.
You can like jump. You can hang off of rails and stuff, and that helps for getting around in a way that you couldn't do in the first game. As far as they introduced this thing with the guards where you can like take their dog tags and it turns you don't have to do that. You can completely ignore that and nothing will change because all it really is like your new game plus options. Like you collect so many dog tags and when you beat the game, you unlock like the infinite ammo bandana and the stealth camouflage and just goodies like that for when you play it again. And the thing is, I always play these games. When I play MGS2, I go for the dog. I don't like stress about it, but I try to get them because I think it makes the game more fun because like each room becomes a puzzle because sometimes you got to like maneuver your way through their patrol patterns. Sometimes guards will be like, oh, if you're gonna, because the way you do it is you sneak up behind them and you point your gun at them and you'll freeze and then you run in front of them and point your gun at their head and they'll like do a little shimmy. And the practical application of this in this game is that outside of dog tags, they also drop ammo for you when you do that. But sometimes guards will be all difficult about it. They're like, oh, are you going to shoot me? Blah, blah, blah. So you got to shoot them like the leg or something. And you go a time without a suppressor that isn't like a tranquilizer dart. So you got to like, find a way to do that guy last or knock someone out before doing that one and so on.
This sounds like Hitman.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. It sure was like the progenitor of this kind of thing. And its commitment to detail was so good too. Like there were so many things for an early PS2 game. Like there were so many like you could break. There were so many rooms where it had like plates and stuff that you could break, or you could shoot melons and they would break apart. It was a lot of fun to just be a chaotic cretin to the scenery of this game.
Chaotic cretin.
And
that's what they call me, apparently.
that was the rejected name.
Yeah. And like the story-wise, this game continues to be like a postmodern, immortal piece of fiction. It's as relevant today, if not more so, than when it came out. It's like the gaming equivalent of 1984, except it's not dreadful to experience.
The takeaway is that we should always listen to Hideo Kojima.
Pretty much.
Because he's always right.
Yeah.
Whether basically we want him to be or not.
Exactly, yeah. Whether we want him to be or not, he's always right.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 2. Just a fantastic game all around.
Fair enough. Right, second to last. Let's do Silent Hill then.
All right,
Silent Hill
so
2.
Silent Hill 2 is like the inversion of that, because as far as gameplay is concerned, it is largely the same as the first game, down to how they design their bosses, where you can pretty much just beat everything by running to a corner, shooting them a little bit, and then when they get too close, run to a different corner. But that doesn't really matter.
Gameplay.
That doesn't matter so much in a horror game, because like that's like maybe a third of the battle most of the time in games like Silent Hill
Yeah.
2, the way it does its story. In the first game, it was Henry Mason and his daughter. He was looking for his daughter Cheryl, who got in before the game starts. There was a car crash and she went missing. Her body was not around, so he goes hunting her down through this wacky, crazy town where it's snowing in August or July. I don't remember exactly. So that's a pretty easy motivation to get behind, and you just kind of uncover the crazy occult conspiracy that's going on in the town of Silent Hill and so forth. In Silent Hill 2, it's a very much more an introspective kind of story where James was not motivated to go to Silent Hill to find his daughter. He was motivated by a letter sent to him by his dead wife. So that's perplexing, to say the least. And it's just a really cool examination of the guy's psyche, a really good character study, and it does a really good job at being, like, it's not even necessarily scary in the way that's like, like Resident Evil is like, what would you do in a situation like this? This is more like examining a person's trauma in a lot of ways, and it's really cool that way.
My favorite. I love trauma.
Also, the enemy designs in 2 are so much better than the first game. Like the first game had basically like skinned birds and skinned dogs was a lot of what I remember, and then 2 had Pyramid Head, which is one of the most iconic horror enemies in video game history.
Pyramid Head?
Yeah, 2 invented Pyramid Head, and 2 is the only game that Pyramid Head should have ever actually been in.
I agree.
I thought he was there since day one.
No, Pyramid Head is.
I don't know a lot about Silent Hill.
Yeah, Pyramid Head is from 2, and all of the other enemies in 2 are really cool because they all look like waterlogged, decayed corpses, and that's like goes a lot along with the visual theme really well because everywhere in that game looks like damp and dilapidated.
Fair enough. Like I said, all I know is Pyramid Head. There's those awful movies.
Those awful movies, yeah. Akira Yamaoka's soundtrack is fantastic in that game.
Yeah.
There's a dog in one of the endings.
Yeah, that's in 2.
And all I know is that the worst, like, the map for it in Dead by Daylight, people consider to be the worst map in that video game. So, it's got a load of things. Apparently, everything in it just isn't actual Silent Hill 2. Like that, like anything that's based, like takes anything from Silent Hill 2 that isn't Silent Hill 2 is bad from the looks of it. So there you go.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh well. Right, okay then, finally, Portal 2. I'm surprised I didn't put that on mine, to be honest. I didn't even think about Portal 2.
I thought that might have been one that showed up on yours, because like other ones that crossed my mind while I was making this were like Assassin's Creed 2. And I was like, nah, Ethan's gonna talk about that. I'll just leave it
read like a book, dude. Read like a book.
I thought about Horizon too, but I was like, it seems early to be talking about that because, like,
honestly, I'm surprised Melee was the only overlap we got.
We got Sly
besides like Sly 2
overlap,
and 3,
but we did choose different ones, so I'll allow it. We'll take it.
I left off Horizon because that's still relatively new. Or I would have put Somnium Files in this too, but that's really new as well. So I'm like, I'll leave myself to stew on that for a while.
Yeah.
But Portal 2, man, another game that is basically a perfect sequel. Like, it took all of the ideas and concepts in Portal 1 and, that 2.5 hour to 3 hour game and made it a nice little several hour, beat it on a Saturday kind of experience. The writing in that game is fantastic. All of the puzzles expand on your knowledge of the portals from before and add new elements like, the reflective laser boxes and the light bridges and the gels. All of that stuff is super great. And GLaDOS, she was funny in the first game, but I feel like she's even funnier in this one. Like all of the lines I remember from GLaDOS are from 2. We
Well, just
both did
everyone in
things.
2. Wheatley's great.
Wheatley is great. Cave Johnson. Cave
obviously,
Johnson is like
iconic.
my favorite thing that J.K. Simmons has ever done. J.K. Simmons is just great in general, so that's impressive.
Iconic, yeah. There's just
But
something
yeah.
about Portal 2 where it's like, it's one of the best puzzle games ever made. It's just like, it's fantastic.
It's probably
and then
my favorite
it's also the
puzzle
fact
game
that
ever.
it's also the fact that they made a co-op mode for it, and instead of just doing like the actual story in co-op, they made a whole separate campaign that's
They just made
pure
a separate
co-op.
co-op game.
And it's not even like it's
great.
as long as the main game, and it's like a full-on co-op mode, and it's great.
It's so cool.
Yeah, Portal 2. Absolutely great. Also, like
Yeah,
one of the coolest ways to wrap up your game ever with the shooting the portal at the moon.
Yeah,
Excellent stuff.
love it. It's great. Good stuff.
Yeah,
Good one to end it on. Do love Portal.
yeah.
And with
Portal 2
that
great.
is, I guess,
Buy the companion collection. It's available on the Switch now.
super cheap as well. It's really reasonably priced. It's like £15 or something ridiculous. Like, I bought it and I beat Portal 1 in a day. Like, not even a day, like an hour.
The whole time that Sam was doing the time trial for that one Crash 4 level.
Yes, I beat Portal 1 before Sam could finish a level of Crash 4. It was great. It was good fun.
I don't know what that says about Portal or Crash 4.
Portal 1 in a lot of ways was similar to like, Assassin's Creed 1, where it was mostly like it started life as a mod and then it,
Also, I'd never played
concept.
Portal 1 before I'd played it this year, but I had played a lot of Portal 2. So if you have the knowledge of Portal 2, then Portal 1's puzzles are easy enough to figure out.
Yeah, it's super easy because like Portal 2 kind of starts you not quite at the end of where Portal 1's level of complexity would be, but
pretty
it starts
close
you,
though.
Yeah. It's not quite Doom Eternal levels of now you're in it from the beginning, but it doesn't start you all the way back.
No, fair enough. But there you go. There it is. 27 gaming sequels that we think are pretty great. Let us know if we missed stuff off. We definitely have. What are some of your favorite sequels? Let us know.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you. If you made it this far, congratulations, because you made it through another 3x3, which was way too fucking long. We started late as well, so it's 4 a.m. for me. Can you tell? I was dying near the end. Sorry, Hunter, if I seemed a bit kind of in the void. It was because
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure a result of me going last a lot of the time, combined with the fact that you guys haven't played a lot of what I pick for these, is that it's kind of checked out towards the end.
No, it's not you personally or anything like that. It's just the fact that it's 4
No,
a.m.
I get it.
And I was very much like, hello, darkness, my old friend. Please let the podcast end. Please. No, I'm kidding. But no, it's been fun. And like I say,
check back next month when we do best third entries.
Assassin's Creed 3, no. That's the
Assassin's
sixth
Creed
entry.
Brotherhood would be a decent shout, though.
Yeah. Crazy. Anyway, as always, our links are on screen right now. You can go follow us on Twitter if you want to keep up to date with everything that we do outside of the podcast. Not much at the moment, to be honest. It's just me. I'm spending every free hour I have trying to finish Xenoblade and not getting anywhere.
Trying to finish.
You're not trying very hard.
Moved out of chapter 4.
How dare you? I will finish chapter 4 by the weekend's end. By the time this goes up, I'll probably have finished chapter 4 because I feel like I've ran out of content in chapter 4 now. I feel like I very much dug the bottom of the barrel. Cal's looking at
nothing left.
Imagine if that was just
chapter.
all of the side content. Like, imagine if they just open up the game and that's all the side content and there's nothing new once you progress the story.
I know, right? That'd be funny. But no, I've done like nearly everything that you can do. I even did hero quests that apparently you should do later. I just did them now because I was high enough level. I was just like, yeah, I'll do it now. Why not? Fuck it.
Bet. Kick W.
Bet. Dude, I've literally done everything. I walked around a desert. I walked around everywhere. You can't stop me. So yeah, it's all good though. But hey, if you don't want to hear about me and my fucking stupid obsession to Xenoblade 3, that's cool too. You can just go and follow us on Twitter at HotGamersOnly or subscribe at youtube.com/HotGamersOnly. And hey, if you don't want to look at our stupid faces, that's cool too. Just search for Hot Gamers Only in your favourite podcast service like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or check the link tree at linktree/HotGamersOnly. Links are in the description. Check us out. You can find us wherever you want us. We're basically there. On that note, I'm gonna wrap it short. We're not gonna do a stupid long outro because I'm tired. It's been 2.5 hours. We've had fun, but I'm sick of you now. Go away. Go watch something else on YouTube. Maybe another one of our podcasts.
He's not sick of you, listeners. He's sick of us.
Yeah.
That's the problem. The problem is that he has to
quota.
keep bringing us back every week.
You know, the problem was we were friends in episode 1, and now we're just doing it for the podcast.
So now we're just
Now we're
coworkers.
just- Co-workers.
Now just acquaintances. You know, we just come together every week, sign it off. It's like our version of like paying our taxes. We just do a weekly podcast and move on. God, imagine if that's what we did. That'd be funny.
Imagine if we could do that in place of paying our taxes. That'd be great.
Oh, fucking hell, yeah. Community. This should be counted as community service, dude. That's the thing.
Honestly, the world is being improved by this show.
Anytime, if we ever
Mark
get
this as educational.
if we
Yeah.
ever get put on community service or jury duty, we should just refer them to this podcast and done. We've already done all of our community service. Here you go. Hundreds,
Yeah.
literally over 100 hours of podcasts. Yeah.
Look at the length of this Persona 5 spoiler cast.
Look at the length of this fucking random video on gaming sequels. 2.5 hours. But no, thank you so much for hanging out with us this week. We'll be back same time, same place next week for more. What is in store next week? Who knows? Better get thinking, Hunter. Get working.
There's only one idea in the box. We better hope I come up with another one to flip the coin on.
Yeah, we better hope. But you'll have to find out next week. But until then, have an awesome week. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.
Toodaloo.